now.
This podcast is brought to you by High Dive. Well, the winter 2019 anime season is here, so be sure to head over to highdive.com to catch all of the action. High Dive is simulcasting Yakusoku no Neverland, Bang Dream Season 2, Pastel Memories, Ueno-san wa Bukyo, Wheeze, and lots more. So be sure to use the promo code AAAPodcast while you go over to highdive.com to sign up, and you're going to get 50% off your first month of service, so you can be sure to save a little bit of money as well. Also, of course, this podcast is brought to you by JList.com. All new magazines are available at JList. They have Shonen Ace for February 2019, Dengeki Daio, Megami Magazine, Dengeki G's Magazine, Comic Alive, all of those for February 2019. So you can get the newest and greatest magazines and stay up to date with all of your anime and Japanese pop culture over at JList.com with a new magazine. And now, of course, as always, it's time to start the podcast.
来てくれてありがとう You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at AAAPodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Run it. I got no snare in my headphones. Yo, Kazuo, you turn the bass up a little bit?
I don't have control over the audio. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 454th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast.
The podcast,
That's right. Mitsuki has no snare in his headphones, and he's about to drop a sick rhyme. Eat some mom spaghetti.
Yeah, let me see it, my guy.
All right, so again, my name is Kazuo. Of course, I am joined here by the Pope of the church that bears his name, Mitsuki.
I'm here.
What's
Welcome all of my wonderful children across the world. Peace be with you, and all of the Moe haters everywhere. I love each and every one of you, and righteousness will prevail us through the darkness of the night.
All right.
Amen.
Well, thank you for
all
that.
right.
I feel holier now. We also have the golden Kohai, Enzo. Enzo, what's up?
Yo, what's up, fam? I'm doing all right. I'm happy to be here before I start working again after my vacation's over. There's no better way to spend the last day of it with y'all than with y'all.
And no better way to spend this day than with the manga mama, Mandy.
Manga Mama coming to 3DS next year.
What's
Also
up,
known as
Mandy?
Mando, sometimes.
And apparently now my name is also Mando.
For my iPhone, her name
Enzo's
is
phone.
Mando. Yes.
The
Hello.
manga mama, Mando, Mandel,
Mangi.
I
Someti-
am a woman
sometimes-
of many names.
Mangi. Yep,
Oh,
that's
yes.
right. That's another one.
Many
Mangi.
titles, my guy. Many titles.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, of course, you can always find us on our website, AAAPodcast.com. Go to AAAPodcast.com/join to create an account and sign up for all of the extra bonus content we provide, such as our Hobby Addicts, which one was just recorded on esports.
A surprising, sneaky, out of
Yeah.
nowhere topic that was focused with pinpoint accuracy and much passion.
Sure.
Sorry. I love esports. It happened. It
We also
happens.
have our after parties, hentai episodes, just a bunch of extra podcast goodness for your listening pleasure for just a couple bucks.
We're going to be revising the format of the hentai episodes pending a meeting this next week. Looking forward to that. And, of course, lots of spillover talk from this episode are going to be on the after party after the episode today.
Yeah. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/AAAPodcast, and on Discord. On the website, at the very top of the page, there is a link to the Discord server, and you can join us and hang out with all the listeners and the hosts as they talk about anime and video games and
And life,
food
dude. Just
and
everything.
manga
And pets.
and pets
Talking late at night about literally nothing.
and life.
Life. Pondering our
there-
existence as
There are
a, as a race.
850 friends on there just waiting for you.
Damn.
Wow. That's crazy.
Damn. That's a lot. It's grown a lot, boys.
It
It's
is.
a fairly big Discord now. It's become
Yeah.
not a small Discord anymore. It is now maybe not even medium. It is, I don't know. What is medium? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, yeah.
There's a heated conversation on Carmen San Diego, apparently.
There is. I don't know what it's about.
That is
but there
true. Yeah, I think that's happening in the mod chat. And
No, it's in movies.
oh, is it in movies? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just giggling at it. Sorry.
so jump on over there, hang out, let us know what you think, be a part of the community. And so we got some announcements here before we get into our main stuff for today. We've got
Goddamn right we have them.
the 2018
Yeah.
anime Oscars are coming soon.
That's right.
But
Oh, no, they're up.
well, no, I mean the Oscars are coming soon.
That's right.
And before then, you must vote.
You must vote. Do
You
your
must
civic
vote.
duty. You will
That's
get
right.
you will get a sticker in
Make
the
your
mail.
voices heard, fam.
As the artist formerly known as Puff Daddy once said, vote or die.
or
Oh.
dive.
The artist formerly known as Puff Daddy, also formerly known as Brother Love at one point for about a week.
Diddy,
Diddy,
P Diddy,
P Diddy, yep, that's right.
Puffy.
Puff, yeah.
Sean
Sean
Combs.
Combs, yep. Sean John was the clothing line.
What is he now known as?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Who knows?
He?
Just Puff.
Just Puff.
The Magic
We
Dragon.
Own Best of 2018 Discord awards that you can go and vote on.
Ah, yes.
Oh, look at
Oh
that.
yes.
And that way, if something that you really loved is not in the Oscars, you can vote for it there. And because you get to put in whatever you want.
So it's like we have the Oscars and the People's Choice Awards going on simultaneously.
Exactly.
Yes, the People's Choice Award. Oh my God, that's good.
So on the website, which is going to be undergoing a lot of changes in the future, we're changing some stuff up. But on the website, there's a strip about halfway down that says Anime Oscars voting. You click on that, it takes you straight to the Google form, which I spent a lot of time creating. So I would really appreciate if everyone voted. It took me about 8 hours to make that.
Yes.
So really would love it.
So go to the
And,
website, scroll down, click on the Oscars voting thing,
Make it so.
make it happen.
Make it so.
All right, on today's episode,
Actually, I gotta make one more note real quick.
oh, what do we got?
I was informed that the
that's
High
right.
Dive promo code AAAPodcast had expired last week. Now I don't know how long it was expired for. However, I have contacted High Dive and they have fixed that issue. So if you tried to use the promo code before and were unable to, try again. It will work this time. That's
Awesome. All right,
Can-
good. Yeah,
can
I
you
missed
spell
that.
Can you spell it out? What,
all. It's
exactly?
AAA Podcast, no spaces. And if you use it, they will know that we sent you and then they'll love us.
And you save a couple bucks.
And we'll save money and we'll love you and I'll come snuggle you. And everybody will win.
Yes.
Well, I won't snuggle you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a crisp high five.
That's not so bad.
Ooh, like
Just
a perfect
solid.
one
Yeah.
that slaps well. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. A fully just like up
Palm to
high.
palm.
Can
Just
I have
palm to
can
palm.
I have mine on my butt?
Well,
Moving on.
Okay.
on this episode, we're gonna be discussing a review of Hanebado
That's right.
and also doing a mailbag roundup.
That's right.
Yes.
So we've, often we go long on these episodes and we tend to not be able to get to all of the mailbags we'd like to. So we've gathered a bunch of them today. We're going to try to power through as many as we can for you. So stick around for that. But before we get to that, it's time for the big news of the week.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Sharapedia has done what they do every quarter. They have asked the Japanese public what the most anticipated anime are for the next season. And so we have a top 10 list for you, which is Kazuo's favorite. We're going to run through the top 10 and we're going to find out what the most anticipated shows are for this season that literally started pretty much today, somewhere around these next 3 or 4 days.
I'm so excited right now.
Yeah. Do you want me to start reading? I can read from 10
Number
to 5.
10.
Number 10 is Magical Girl Special Ops Asuka.
It's one of my shows for the season. Definitely a magical girl show where they fight things. I mean, what else can I say about it?
Yep.
Number 9.
Number 9 is The Magnificent Kotobuki.
I
I'm
don't
not
know what
sure-
that is.
Is that one mine? Is that the plain one?
I don't know.
Yes, it is.
It is. All right, that one's mine, which I'm actually looking forward to watching. I feel like some good character stuff can come from that one.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Dororo, which is another one of mine. This one I'm hoping will have some good drama based on the plot outlined on my anime list.
Number 7.
Number 7 is Bang Dream, the second season, which I haven't
It's an
done.
idol
much
show.
about. Yeah, it's an idol show though, right?
Bong!
Oh, what the fuck?
Bong!
Oh my god, I love it.
Some of the sound effects in that
fuck?
are so.
I just want to say again, I really enjoyed Inuyashiki. Yeah, Bang. Okay. Good lord.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Date 8 Live, the third one.
None of us picked this one.
No.
No, I don't think so.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Kaguya-sama, Love is War, which I
It's
believe
my
is
show.
Mandy's. Yes, which I'm
I'm
happy
excited.
you have. Yeah.
Number 4.
Number 4 was, it's called Boogie Pop and Others, but this one's Boogie Pop Phantom, basically.
I don't really get it. What is the others? It's Boogie Pop Phantom.
So they're all different adaptations. Boogie Pop and Others, I believe comes before Phantom, but I could be wrong about that. I know one comes before the other.
It's like
They're all.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say they're all different adaptations of the novels.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like in the 70s when they had the Amazing Spider-Man, and then they had. Oh, I'm sorry. They had Spider-Man, and then they had the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That's what this one is.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna get the Human Torch.
Boogie Pop and His Amazing Friends. Yes.
I just hope it makes more sense because as a kid, I didn't understand the Boogie Pop Phantom at all, but I liked it. I just didn't get it.
Number 3.
Number 3, coming in
My
hot.
Crazy Girls.
Coming in hot with Crazy Girls is Kakegurui, the XX, which I'm assuming just means the second season.
Yeah.
Listen, I know
This
we're
is
gonna.
about like crazy gambling girls and boys in a high school.
I know
we'll
we're
see
gonna
how that
do
goes.
an impression on this.
Mm.
I know it's probably gonna pass, but
Why?
I don't know because it's really high profile. We passed the last one. I don't know. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay, good gods.
Number 2.
Number 2 is The Promised Neverland, which I'm very hopeful for. I believe that one is Kazuo's pick.
Hey, I got one.
The manga is really good.
This one's
yeah,
gonna be
the
good.
manga is good per Mandy, per the internet as well.
And of course,
Yes.
we all cleverly sidestep number 1 because, well, it's a thing.
Number 1.
Number 1, unexpectedly to me at least, is Kimono Friends 2, which I don't really know much about.
I mean, it's like, if I recall, Kimono Friends is like super lowly. Kimono Friends.
I know it has a very dedicated like fan base. I don't know. I've heard it. I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard that it's pretty wholesome.
I mean, it's the show that has all the little animal girls in it, and they're all like
Aw.
super little girls. There's like a cheetah girl and a
And then they all viciously kill each
rabbit girl, and no, it's not killing
other. The
bites.
cheetah hunts down the rabbit girl,
That would be badass.
bites her head off.
And so there you have it. I think we pretty much covered most of these. We missed a couple of them, but we got most of them on our impression list. So, and I think the ones that we didn't pick, we pretty much picked them because we didn't want to. So,
Yeah.
which I think consists of just Bang Dream, Date A Live, and Kimono Friends were the only ones I think we missed out on.
I believe so.
Not so bad. I think we did okay. I think it's a good list. Japan pretty much covered them all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple on there that are.
Where's Shield Hero?
Yeah, where's that? That's like very popular to my knowledge.
Yeah, Shield Hero is not here.
That's weird.
We'll see.
All right. Well, shall we move on?
Let's do it.
Please.
皆さんおめでとうございます Join us in Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner.
This submission to Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner is, well, I felt bad like editing his submission considering what the subject matter of it, but it's extremely long.
Okay, I'll read through it.
I mean, we could even take turns. It's so long.
That's okay. It's okay. This is my one segment. I'll read it.
Go for it, bro.
But yeah, Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner is a segment that I want to establish on the podcast where the listeners can write in about an achievement they've recently accomplished or something they're working on that they're really proud of, and we just want to recognize you on air for the masses to know that you're doing something cool and that we think is cool, and we appreciate you guys for being cool and listening to us at the same time.
We're giving you a digital back scratch.
Yes. A digital
We're putting you in the corner, and then we're noticing you.
Yes. I'm putting you in a corner, and I'm saying Enzo Senpai is noticing you right now.
We got you backed up in a corner, and then we're like pointing right in your face.
We're like, hey, you are the man. Right in
I
your
noticed
face.
you.
Oh, you're the man. You get out there and you show them what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what
and
I'm doing.
And we slap you on the ass as you.
This one comes in from Cannibal, and they say, "Hi, AAA host. I wanted to share a pretty awesome thing with you guys. I work as a paralegal at an immigration law firm. A few years ago, a young boy who fled his home country and was applying for asylum showed up in my office. He's very timid and doesn't speak very much. He had just arrived and was living with his parents, who he had never met until he arrived. His parents were concerned. They thought he was strange and detached, and we were worried about his even wanting to be in the country, let alone be able to go through this process. In my office, I have all sorts of anime figures and Gunpla builds as decorations. He clearly did not feel comfortable speaking openly in front of his parents or the attorney, and when they stepped out, I noticed him checking out my shelves. I asked him if he liked anime. He told me he was a huge Dragon Ball and Bleach fan. We started talking about anime. He opened up almost immediately. He told me everything from his childhood, how he was having a hard time adjusting to living in New York. These cases take a very long time, but we developed a pretty good bond, and I was in charge of his case. I went with him to his asylum interview and helped him through his nerves. I gave him a ride home after the interview, and he told me that I was the first person he'd met since arriving that he felt comfortable talking to. This broke my heart, as I know how difficult it is for many of these kids. A few months after his asylum interview, he was approved and is now a legal permanent resident. He stops by every so often and asks for recommendations on shows and manga, despite not having to come by at all. Overall, I not only see this as a personal win, but a win for a quiet kid who is misunderstood and loves anime, which I personally relate to, but I'm pretty sure each and every one of us also can. Thanks again. Dude, you're doing the Lord's work, Ken Cannibal. Thank you so much. As someone who is related to a lot of people that immigrated to this country from other places in the world, that is incredible. Thank you so much for helping this kid. I won't ever forget this story.
Mm-hmm.
This is very close to home for me. Yeah, this is why anime is cool, man, because sometimes you don't need to know the same language as someone else. You need to have the same backstory as someone else, but you just connect over something cool, like Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah. Sometimes we fight over who is the best waifu, and sometimes it brings people of different cultures together. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
All right.
I really have to find the UDA drop that's just like, thank you very much.
Oh. On that note, it is time for the good, the bad, and the moe.
Howdy, partner. I seen you riding in on that dusty trail. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the moe.
All right, for the good, the bad, and the moe today, Pokemon Go has earned nearly $800 million in 2018. This, of course, being the good. Pokemon Go smartphone game has earned $795 million worldwide in 2018, a 35% increase over its revenue in 2017. In December alone, the game earned more than $75 million worldwide, which is a daily average of $2.2 million per day throughout the 2018 year. According to the sources, the increase is due to the additions that were made to the game, which include research tasks, trading, and player versus player battle features. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, reported that Niantic, the company who made the game, earned $190 million on the overall $800 million revenue, which is roughly 24% of the overall proceeds. For the bad, a man who plowed into pedestrians on New Year's Eve in Japan had actually planned to ignite the crowds at the Meiji Shrine in Tokyo. The arrested driver of a car that plowed into a crowd in the Harajuku district of Tokyo on New Year's Eve said that he was planning to spray kerosene at people at a popular Shinto shrine and set them ablaze. The rented minicar that he used for the attack had a 20-liter tank of kerosene and a high-pressure water sprayer with an ignition tool attached to it. He said, quote, "I was going to use the sprayer and kerosene to set fire to the crowds at the Meiji Shrine." Kusakabe, identified by the police as a resident of the Osaka prefecture, was quoted as saying, adding that he drove into the pedestrians after, quote, "things didn't go well."
Jeez.
For the moe, a record 336.6 million yen were paid for a giant tuna at the Toyosu Market's first New Year's auction. A sushi entrepreneur paid what is about $3.1 million for a giant tuna on Saturday at Tokyo's brand new Toyosu Fish Market, which is the replacement for the old world famous Tsukiji Fish Market, which I want to go to this new one. The tuna weighed 612 pounds or 278 kilograms and was an endangered species that was caught off of Japan's northern coast. The self-styled entrepreneur the tuna king, Kiyoshi Kimura, paid the top price, more than double the previous record, which was $155 million from 2013. That's it. That's the good.
It was
bet.
155 million yen, not dollars.
Yen.
Yeah.
So, dude, $3.1 million for a tuna.
That's insane.
I actually want to real quick while we're thinking about this. I'm gonna take my cell phone real quick. We're gonna do a little quick math here. That's 3.1 million divided by 612. He paid $5,000
A pound?
A pound. And you know what's hilarious about that is that he's gonna sell that tuna to sushi shops. He may even own his own sushi shop. And I know that in the old Tsukiji Fish Market, they used to have sushi restaurants where people would line up for hours, even like the better part of a day to eat sushi, and they would pay insane prices to eat sushi. This guy's probably actually going to profit off that tuna, believe it or not, and I think that's unbelievable. But I also think he paid such an over-the-top price for it because he wants to. The people were very sort of scared about moving the Tsukiji Fish Market to a new location because it had been where it had been for like a long, long time. And I think he's trying to sort of usher in a new era of the fish market at this new location. And the fact that he did it on New Year's Day at the very first auction, I don't think is a mistake. So this guy's actually doing a pretty great thing for the new fish market. He's kind of stamping its mark with with paying a huge price for the fish. I wouldn't be surprised if he overpaid by like $1 million. So good on you, Kiyoshi Kimura, the Tuna King.
The Tuna King. All right, guys, on that note, we have our trivia here. Of course, on the website every week we have a new trivia. The answer for this week was Hunter x Hunter.
Damn right.
And the winner is
Dalriadon Despot.
Yeah, Dalriadon Despot. That's a hell of a name.
Daigozaru.
And the new theme, or I guess is this the continuing theme, right?
We are now on the third round of 4 of Anime Pompadours.
Anime Pompadours.
That's right.
Very interesting. All right. We also have an in-show weekly trivia question that we will answer after our very first news break of the day. And I'll read that here for you. It's I guess it's a name that anime. It says here, Takuya Oyugi is just a typical high school guy who wants nothing more than to protect his best friend and live a normal life. Enter Nobutsuna Naoe, an older man who informs Takaya that he is in fact the reincarnation of Lord Kagetora. I have no clue what this show is, but if you do, let us know in the chat, and we'll tell you right after the break.
Hey all you anime addicts, Mitsuki's here to the rescue with your anime news break. Leading us off, Prime Minister Abe in Japan has announced that the name of the next imperial era in Japan is going to be announced on April 1st, the imperial era known as Gengo. This very important thing in Japan, tradition dictates that the name of the new era is decided on and disclosed to the public following the start of the new imperial era, Abe said during a New Year's press conference. However, I believe it is best to announce the name on April 1st prior to the Crown Prince's ascension, so as to minimize the impact the change may have on the lives of the Japanese people. So it's going to be interesting to see what the name of the new era is in Japan, and we're all looking forward to seeing that one when it happens on April 1st. Next up, we have some Blu-ray and DVD sales for the week following, well, pretty much during the holidays of Christmas and New Year's. The DVD sales in Japan continue to struggle with a very small amount sold. Zombieland Saga Volume 1 took the top spot on both Blu-rays and DVDs, followed by Kakugeki Review Starlight, Toaru Majutsu no Index 3, Persona 5 the Animation, and Dakaretai Otoko Ichi ni Odosarete imasu, which none of those broke 7,000 copies of Blu-rays sold, which is a very small amount. continuing the trend of declining sales of physical media in Japan. Next up, of course, we have a new anime that's being released in the summer of 2019 with a very long title. It was announced at a New Year's event in 2018 that the Lord L. Melloi Nisei no Jikenbo novel is going to be getting a TV anime. The synopsis is when Lord L. Melloi, the former Waver Velvet, gets asked to claim his inheritance over Audra Castle. He travels there with his apprentice Gray to do so, but they are not the only ones called that way. The will of the previous owner states that the assembled contestants, including somebody with a name that's impossible to pronounce, must compete in a game of wits to win the castle. Kind of reminds me of Ron, the old Japanese samurai film, where three brothers have to compete over the inheritance of a warlord's castle. So we'll have to check that out. That kind of sounds like an interesting plot line that might be worth seeing. And lastly, the manga creator Hajime Isayama, of course, he who made Attack on Titan, has announced that he is getting married. He announced this on his blog. And, of course, Attack on Titan, a very famous property, many volumes of the manga released, one of the most popular anime in the last few years. But there haven't been a whole lot of pieces of information released about the marriage, who she is, etc., etc. This was me, Tsuki, and this was your anime news break. Now, getting us back to the podcast. Hey Mandy, what's up?
Oh, hey Mitz. I'm trying to find a way to watch some dubbed anime, but I really don't want to wait around until the dubs are done. I'm so impatient.
Well, have you tried looking for an anime streaming service online?
Yeah, but I don't know which one to choose.
Well, I know you don't want to use any illegal streaming sites, and I know you'll explode if you have to wait. So have you thought about HighDive.com? HighDive has dubcasts.
What's a dubcast?
Well, dubcasts are dubs of anime that are released about the same time that the shows come out in Japan, so it's like a simulcast, only dubbed. This way you won't have to wait. HighDive does these each season.
Oh, that's great! And now this way I can support the anime industry by watching legal streaming. I won't have to work on being patient.
That's right! And if you go to HighDive.com, you can get a 7-day free trial, and when you use the promo code AAAPodcast, you'll get half off your first month of service.
Oh, that sounds good. I'll go to highdive.com and be watching dubcasts before you know it.
Hey guys, please go to okay, one more time. Visit jlist.net for oh man, that's not right. I gotta get this hosting down. If only Mitsuki Senpai was here to help.
You called, my dear Kohai?
Senpai? Wait, you can teleport?
But of course. Now, do you wish to learn the ways of directing people to countless anime goods?
Yeah, teach me the ways of letting everyone know about the amazing snack selection JList.com has to offer.
Then listen closely, my Kohai. Go to JList.com right now for all of your anime shopping needs and all of your anime snack shopping needs.
Senpai, sugoi.
And welcome back to the 454th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, buddy. Before we went on our news break, we asked you an in-show weekly trivia question, and now my homeboy Enzo is going to give you the answer.
Yep. Just to remind y'all about what the question was before I give you the answer, we asked, Takaya Ogi is just a typical high school guy who wants nothing more than to protect his best friend and live a normal life. Enter Nobutsu Naoe, an older man who informs Takaya that he is in fact the reincarnation of Lord Kagetora. The answer of what this anime is Mirage of Blaze.
What the hell is that?
I don't think I've seen this one.
Never heard of it.
The
I've
older
heard of
man part of the description is actually relevant because it is 100%. What would they say? Boys love or shonen ai. Although it's not really shonen.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it currently has a 6.69 on my anime list, which I feel is fitting.
Yeah. Yep. That's a show I watched when I was like
A young shonen.
like I don't know, freshman in college. That's like I don't think pretty much no one else.
You know what they
pretty
say
much-
about college. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
you got to mix it up.
Pretty much no one else on earth has seen that except me.
All right. Well,
Anyway, then.
very interesting. All right. Now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Mandy's Manga Minute.
Yes.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandy.
Alrighty, Mandy's Manga Minute is where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new. And this one's gonna be kind of weird with this beautiful music behind it.
Oh boy.
But this week I'm doing MPD Psycho. The main character is a detective, Kazuhiko Amamiya, suffering from multiple personality disorder. Starting out as a violent detective series with a twist being the variant personalities that take over Detective Amamiya at various intervals. The series evolves into an exceptionally complex and involved sci-fi conspiracy story. MPD Psycho is a psychological mystery by a two-man team. The art is by Sho Tajima, and the story is written by Eiji Otsuka. It was originally released in 1996, but started printing in English in 2007 from Dark Horse Comics. There are a total of 24 volumes, and the series is completed. There is also a live-action drama that is directed by the great Takashi Miike. The series is not for the squeamish. It's extremely brutal and very dark. There is a lot of body horror involved in this series, and it does not shy away from showing you the details. The manga will test your ability to tolerate this level of brutality from the very first chapter as well. It's very psychological. The main character, who you can't trust straight from the very beginning. He's suffering from MPD, and the story switches between his different personalities. I originally watched the live-action drama and decided to give the manga a try afterwards, but the show wasn't a direct adaptation, and I found the switches in the manga to be a little hard to follow sometimes. There are also moments where the story becomes very bizarre, but throughout the whole manga, the tension is very high, no one's safe, and because of the mind games aspect, I would possibly recommend it to Death Note fans, but just keep in mind that it's very graphic with kind of bizarre imagery, like a person's head cut to like where you can see the brain and there's like flowers sticking out. So yeah.
Well, that
sounds
lovely.
like Shiguru level violence.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I'm just not a fan of like body horror.
I always wanted to see what a man's brainstem looked like.
Not really.
Oh, really?
I can show you a picture.
Yeah.
She's like, I can show you
I
in my
can
closet.
Google one.
I'd like to see a picture of that.
Body horror to me is like if it fits the context and tone of the story, I'm all in. If it's just there for like gore porn,
Like The Fly, the old body horror, like that shit. The Thing, the movie The Thing. Oh, body horror is amazing in that movie.
No likey.
No likey.
You know what I do likey though?
What is that?
Mailbags.
Yeah.
Mighty Anime Mailbag.
Yeah, buddy.
Hit
Anime.
that choreo.
Anime.
Hit it.
Mailbag.
Oh,
There's no hope
yeah.
for your polluted
That felt
soul.
good to do, man.
What's that, Enzo?
That felt good to do.
Doesn't it feel good?
Yeah, it's
It gets you
good,
hyped.
dude. It's good. Once we get the host cameras installed for me and
Yes.
Maddie, we'll do it.
Thank
do
you.
it.
we got to get that set up
Yeah.
because
We got.
Wait, are you voting me in on this?
Oh yeah, no, you have to do it with us.
Oh, okay.
You know what gets me hyped?
What's that, Mitz?
Answering the same question for the 15th time. Gup
Get it.
Squatch writes, I'm listening to a lot of the older episodes, and I keep hearing a mention of a cell phone application. So I was wondering if the idea tanked or if it was still in the works.
Look, Cub Squatch,
Squatch.
this is just a very sore subject for Mitz.
Yes,
All right.
I was just about to say.
Please don't feel
Ghost Flash,
personally
we
attacked.
Love you. None of this frustration is towards you. Okay.
Mitz lost $3,000 trying to make this mobile app.
Lost or spent
All right,
learning a valuable lesson?
Here's the whole story, okay?
Okay.
I hired an online company
Yes.
that was out of the country, but, anybody...
Seemed reputable.
This company
Ish.
basically took a down payment, a small one, and then part of the way through the project realized that we had hentai episodes and said that it was against their company's principles to have content like that in their projects, so they bailed on the project. Then I found another company who was working on it
With looser morals.
and he took a small down payment. This was a one guy doing this, like a freelancer, took a small down payment on it, and basically strung me along on the process until he was outside of the window in which PayPal will challenge transactions. And so he hung in there and actually had a working application. I actually have
Some kind of working.
we had a working application on my phone at one point that was actually playing episodes from our database. And I think I finally deleted the like logo of it. We actually had the image and stuff too. And he basically built the app until he got to the point where PayPal would not challenge the transaction that I did with him, so I couldn't actually like file a complaint. Then after he got past that window, he just ghosted. So basically, that guy was clearly a very good scam artist.
So if any of you would like to build us an app,
And then I contacted a firm in England and asked them how much it would cost to make a mobile app, which the mobile app I wanted was a lot like the podcast app that iTunes does, except having a giant database and stuff, and it would just be for our episodes. And they told me $12,000, and so I was like, well, this is dead. That's the whole story. So I tried really hard. I was on the phone a million times trying to get this thing made for you.
yeah.
A million times, literally. I even drew up contracts and stuff.
Every time I hear database, Log Horizon starts playing.
Data.
That's right. Am I not the only one?
Yeah. Same.
Whoa.
All right. Well, thank you for checking in, Gubsquatch, and I'm sorry you had to deal with a bit of that anger, but it was not.
I'm not
you.
angry. But I want you to know that now that I've expressed now that I've told the whole story again, the next person who asks is gonna get a visit from the Church of Mitsuki acolytes. You will go into the pit of anime hell, whether you are a moe girl or not. You're going in the pit. And while you're down there, though, kick a moe girl for me. Just kick her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're down there anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well.
That's right.
All right.
While you're there.
Next mailbag comes from Icy Rose. Waiting. Yeah. All right. So Icy Rose writes in, as he often does, and says, "Hello again, AAA host. Recently, the Dead or Alive franchise has gotten under a lot of flack for trying to steer away from the fan service that made them so famous in an attempt to become a more serious fighting game, with fans accusing them of alienating their existing fans in order to satisfy the wrong crowd of players. And this situation sort of reminds me of when Ken Akamatsu finished Love Hina, Mitsuki's favorite anime of all time, and then...
Did he say that?
No, I added that part. And then wanted to start a shonen battle manga, but his editors told him he should just stick to writing harems. The result ended with him writing Nejima, a school harem series that eventually evolved into a shonen battle series, as he slowly snuck in the elements and tropes he wanted to portray, and it got me thinking. When an author wants to go in a new direction, but is met with considerable blowback by supporters, what do you think is a better approach? Should they play it safe and continue doing what they supposedly do best, attempt to slowly steer their story in the direction they want, or start a new story while still writing their current one to appease their existing fans while having an outlet for their new ideas slash ambitions?
Doesn't AC Rose write the best mailbags?
You know what? Very well worded. Not hardly any grammatical errors. Easy to read.
Now,
I appreciate you, Icy.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I'm going to let everyone else chime in because I just talk for however many minutes it was.
I mean, from like a very simplistic standpoint, I think I'm like conflicted on this because one side of me is like an artist should pursue their vision, no matter what, right? But then the business part of me is like sometimes an artist's dream isn't something that makes money, and if you've agreed to work under a company that is distributing your product, like you agreed to compromise with me halfway on some stuff in order to make money, right? So it's a the thing is, like, we don't know all the full details of what the agreement is between these two parties, and therefore we don't really have the right to like just take the approach of like, yeah, you should follow your dreams. Like that's what you should do always. Like,
yeah, hell yeah, dog. Fuck the man. Follow your dream.
yeah, exactly. You see what I mean? Like it's easy to say that because that's what my heart is saying. Like my heart says, always follow your vision. Your vision is what you want to do, right? Like that's what you really want to make to feel fulfilled. But if you entered into an agreement where you gave the company a right to tell you can't do something and you did that, then you're just dealing with what you signed up for. And like I personally I've been in situations like that and it sucks, but like that's just how it is sometimes, boys.
That's why a lot of shonen manga always end up being very samey, because the editors have a very particular view that they want for their magazine. And so if someone is like, I want to make this completely different kind of genre, they're usually like, well, we're not going to put it in our magazine then, sorry. And you can try to win through they're not polls, some kind of voting system. I can't remember what it's called, but normally you're not going to make it. and I mean, unless you have enough money to publish it yourself, there's not much else you can do if your editor's like, no, you take all of this stuff out and this is what you have to change.
Yeah, it's give and take. Unless you're someone like Miyazaki. If Miyazaki was like, I'm gonna write a manga now, like I dare someone to tell him, no, you can't do it that way. You know what I mean?
Funny.
Like that'd be hysterical. Like, yeah, okay, dude. Like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to you, dick. No way. Like he's gonna do his own shit. But if you're an up and coming artist, or if you're an established artist, but you don't have that kind of clout, like you're like tied to what you signed, my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, if you're contractually obligated to something, follow through with that. One, because of the legal ramifications, but two, just because it's the right thing to do. But if you are someone like, what's his name?
Ken
Akamatsu, and you've already completed your contractual obligation and you want to create something else, then go for it, man. Like, and if the studio doesn't want to fund it, then, obviously you have to do what you have to do and maybe find alternative routes, or, like a lot of actors talk about, you do one for the studio and then one for yourself. Like you do a role to pay the bills and because it's what the studio wants, and then you do a role that you want to do for your own artistic pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to like making something and then like pleasing your fans, I always valued making something that pleases you first. Like get your vision out. Like, all things considered, if you're able to get your vision out, like just get what you want out there and then like let the fans think what they think. But if you're under a company's jurisdiction, then you gotta listen to the fans a bit more. But if you're doing your own thing, do your own thing, man. Don't compromise. You got no one to compromise with.
My only thing I would add to this is that like when you have an established franchise like Dead or Alive, and you have fans that are dedicated to you, and you know that they're gonna buy your next game, moving to a different genre or a different platform or whatever the change is doesn't necessarily guarantee that those people are going to come with you. And you're really risking. You're making a very risky business move doing that. Not only because you're making an assumption that people will follow you, despite blowback that you're getting from those very people, but also you may want to question whether or not you have the competency to create something that's so different at the same level of quality as what you've already been doing. So just because you made a successful like ecchi fighting game or whatever you want to call it, Dead or Alive, doesn't mean that you're going to be able to make a more competitive fighting game that's like more serious. It has like tighter controls and more like more specific mechanics that like a fighting game's gonna have to have. Like, you're not necessarily going to be successful doing something different. So I don't know.
This is very related to our hobby addicts because that's the reason why that was changed, was esports.
All right, guys.
Oh, right, correct, right. Especially the Dead or Alive thing, where like if we're gonna take this game to like the big screen, to like to the world's eye, like we can't have Ivy in her fucking that's her name, right? Ivy, the silver-haired girl.
I don't know. Any of their
I'm
names.
pretty, Ivy, who uses like that whip type of weapon sword thing. Yeah, like she's basically naked entirely.
I think you're thinking of Soul Calibur.
Yeah, that's Soul Calibur.
Oh, is that Soul Calibur?
Yeah,
okay,
that's
in Dead or Alive. Like
definitely
a lot of
Soul Calibur. You're right.
Dead or Alive. I mean, there's a lot of that going on. All right, next mailbag.
to. Next one, I can read this one. So this one comes from Girthy Worm.
Ha, nice.
Hello, AAA host. They spelled it like that. I didn't just do that. I'd like to ask a very easy task that would fill my life with joy. Can you please do the following for me? Step 1. I'd like Mitch to lean over and put his beautiful bald head up against the microphone. Please complete step 1.
I mean, it's up against the mic.
Okay.
We
Yes.
can't see. We're on a lag.
Yep. Just let me know when step is complete. Step 2.
Yes.
I would like Kazuo to rub his big manly hands all over Mitsuki's bald, beautiful head.
Nope.
Nope.
Come on,
That
just
is-
give it a little touch.
He wants the ASMR.
This
Yeah,
is all right.
Just give him a little touch. Just a little one.
I'm gonna have to wash my hands
All right.
after this. I don't know where his head's been.
Yeah.
There's no
Okay.
sound though.
All right. Well, I mean, it's happening though. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Welcome to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. You've been such a we will be touching a bald head for your listening pleasure.
Were you a good boy today? If you were good today, then I have a reward for you.
So
Then step 3 is profit. So we
Yes.
just did.
thank
Thanks,
you.
and have a good day. Yours truly, Girthy Worm. Thank you for that interesting
Profit.
mailbag. I'm down
How
with
much
that.
did we make?
Yeah. How much did we make from that just now? A couple
Approximately nothing.
yes.
dollars? About enough
Aw.
to buy me a pizza. Though.
But I
That's
think
pretty-
people enjoyed that, so feel free to send them more weird mailbags. I mean, yeah.
Sure.
We just opened a can of worms with that one.
Of girthy
Get it-
worms.
I was gonna just say, damn it.
I win today.
All right, next mailbag.
Next one is from Moral. Hey, new listener here. I read that like they're
Yeah.
addressing us.
Hey, new listener
new
here.
listener here. My question is, who do you think would be the best and worst role models from anime? And do you have any specific anime characters that played a significant role in becoming who you are today? Thanks. I really love the podcast.
I can answer the second part of this super easily.
Me too.
The second part of this is like literally Koyuki from Beck is why I am me, 100%. Because when I watched him the first time, I was like, oh shit, that's me. That's me in the classroom debating why my life is pointless and meaningless at the age of 14. Like I have so much life left. Why do I feel so empty? And then him finding his passion and then pursuing the passion, and then that passion bringing his new set of friends, bringing to light what he really enjoys in life, bringing him his first love. That's literally my life. Like if you guys watch back, if you guys want to get to know me but can't meet me in person, just watch back. That's me. That's what my life was.
I actually just had this conversation with Cami, who's on our Discord. We were talking about Natsume because she's also a big fan, and I mentioned, man, Natsume is kind of a role model for me because throughout the story, he's gone through so much just terrible things, but he still looks for good in people. And
Right.
like for me, like when I get like sunk into this like depressive hole and I feel like the whole world is terrible, I just remember about Natsume, and I'm like, despite like how all the terrible things that happen around him, he's still very strong. He's not naive, but he does do what he can to help anyone else around him. And I don't know, it's weird because I feel like a lot of people when I talk about Natsume are like, oh, it's about a lonely boy and sees spirits and he just has a talking cat. But I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
it really touched me in a very special like way. And
people will always summarize things like that when they haven't actually watched it. You know, like people can easily say like, oh yeah, Beck's about a sad boy that played guitar. I'm like, well, yes, it is about a sad boy that learns to play guitar.
True.
But it also is about how a passion can bring about someone's confidence and let them grow in a new way that they didn't expect, right? So
Mhm.
that's what made that anime special to me. I wouldn't say Koyuki is my role model. I think Natsume is a really good one. I wouldn't say Koyuki is my role model. I think Koyuki is just the reason I am who I am today, because like I promise you, like I'm so convinced that my life had two timelines: the timeline where I didn't learn guitar and the timeline where I learned guitar. And the genesis of that fork in the road was Beck, because I watched Beck and I was like, I'm gonna buy a fucking guitar. I'm doing that shit today. So I finished it. I went to buy a guitar and I learned it, and that just set my life in a completely new trajectory. So But in terms of like best and worst role models, I'm not sure. I think Onizuka is a great role model. What do you think?
That's right. I wasn't gonna say that one because I figured Mitz would.
I mean, I'm not sure I have a role model from anime. You know, like
Vegeta probably for you.
Like I have characters that were a big part of my life growing up, and that I spent a lot of time with them, and I feel like I love them.
Yeah.
Like
the boy from Love Hina.
The boy from Love Hina.
What's his name?
That guy from that guy from Scry that does the
balls.
That does the bullet,
Oscar Taichibana.
that does the bullet fist thing.
Oh.
Shocking first bullet. You know that guy?
What?
His name's Kazuma or something.
Oh yeah.
And you know, one cannot forget the younger brother from Boku no Pico. But
oh my god,
it's a fair point.
But I don't know, like Onizuka. I mean, I did buy a motorcycle, but that's not really that important.
And you did become a
in my life.
teacher.
I went to Japan and I did become a teacher, and for a time I was like, I probably am the greatest. But you know, I don't know that I really have. Goku probably more than anybody.
Yeah, that's mine for sure.
I mean, Goku. I mean, I spent countless hours with Goku growing up.
Yeah.
I spent more hours with Goku than I ever did with my actual father.
I spent countless hours in my friend's backyard beating each other up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then popping
Same.
ephedra and pretending it was a sensu bean.
What?
Yeah, man.
Oh my
What
god.
the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
How do you even get that?
You know people,
Swiped
man.
it off the dresser, babe.
The neighborhood, dude.
The neighborhood.
Yeah, man. We had like a fight ring in my friend's backyard, like all throughout like high school, and you know, yeah.
I am never fighting Kazuo.
So
I am not prepared.
Worst role models.
Yeah, worst
probably
role
also
models.
Goku.
Oh, the mother from Hanebado.
Yes.
Tucker.
What? Shout
Yeah.
Tucker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker.
Also a terrible role model.
I don't know how to answer this first question, like best and worst. I don't know. I just know for sure that Koyuki is why I am who I am in general because of Beck, the whole story.
Yeah.
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 Wait, but Kazuo, so you're saying Goku is like a significant role in becoming who you are today?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I just
I
wanted to make sure that.
I mean, obviously there's like the martial arts aspect of it, but there's also just always trying to do the right thing, and even if it requires like sacrificing of yourself, like, and yeah, just trying to be a good person, like,
Yeah,
you know.
totally.
Goku's the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would also say Ippo is pretty huge for me too.
And also desperately trying to avoid your children. That's another thing that he inspired me to do.
I did. I back in my like psycho workout days, I did lean on Ippo a lot, like at the music particularly, and like the scene where I've told the story like a bunch of times on the podcast, but we've been doing this for so long, people probably don't even remember. But you know, like there's that scene where he basically is unconscious and he still rises to his feet.
I know, dude.
And when you're like, and they do it in a way that
That song plays.
They do it in a way that makes it feel like powerful and meaningful, and then not just, you know, a lot of like shonen fighting anime or sports anime. They'll do a similar thing, but they don't feel as impactful as they do in Ippo. Is they just do it a little better, I think. But you know, there were times where I'm like, you know, I could throw up in the grass right now during this workout, but then I'm like, oh, but I made a rule: as long as a song from Hajime Ippo is playing, I am not allowed to stop what I'm doing, no matter how long the song is. An Eternal Loop is 9 minutes.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
if that, I
it's
swear,
long as hell.
if Eternal Loop is playing, I am gonna keep doing whatever I'm doing, even if I feel like I'm gonna break. And that was like how it was for Evola for a few years. So I don't know. And as Muhammad Ali said, I don't start counting the sit-ups until it hurts.
Nice. Another
There you go.
role model, Moroku from Inuyasha.
Ah,
Because I mean, ultimately, I'm just looking for somebody with good birthing hips.
To fulfill your role as a human in the human species.
Yeah, I got to keep the clan alive, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
but you also claim Goku's traits of wanting to stay away from
Yes.
the children.
No, I'm gonna have the children and then run away.
Got it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
long
yeah.
as they're out there in the world, you've
Yes.
done your duty.
Correct.
You're perfect for Japan.
Hugo in chat says Kazuo is a terrible role model.
That is also correct.
Okay, next mailbag. Did everybody answer that?
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
No, we did.
Okay, I don't know. Okay,
Next mailbag.
All right, who?
Mitz.
All right. Jose fan writes, "Hi, great show. Thank you very much. You'll probably find it interesting to know that you were recommended to me by a cam girl."
What? Wait.
What?
What?
Hold the phone.
What the fuck?
Hold the phone.
Hello?
Cosmo, do you know about this?
Kazuo, I need you to send me a report on your internet history.
If you listen to our hentai episodes, you know.
Did you literally go and
shit!
There's a
start
connection.
spamming our podcast?
This is
that
not
what
what I
happened?
meant by we need more promotion of the podcast, Kazuo.
I did. There was a cam girl who her like cam name was something like Spice the Wolf, like from Spice and
Spice
Wolf.
and Wolf for sure. Yeah.
And I was like, huh, okay.
That's a funny name.
Yeah. Okay, I have a comment about that, but for a hentai episode. Anyway, I'd love to know. All right, okay. Anyway, here's my question. Maybe Mandy will know the answer. Is there a good, mature manga about open or poly relationships? I tried Googling around josei genre, but found nothing. What do Japanese people think of such arrangements?
Josei is the hard one. I can't think of any Josei. I sat here racking my brain, and I can think of Josei smut that has like, but it's mostly like, oh, a threesome happened. It's not like about a relationship. The only ones that I could think of, and they're both seinen, is Honeymoon Salad, which I have not read, but I just know about it. And that one is like a drama about an open relationship of a guy with two girls. And then there's Hadekon, which I have read, which I don't recommend, but you can still try it if you would like. It is a seinen ecchi about a man who ends up with 3 wives. And yeah, the guy's kind of a creep though, so I don't really recommend it. Like they even acknowledge in the show that he is kind of a creepy person.
Hey, I don't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, but you are welcome to try it out. I can't think of anything else. Those are the only 2 that came to my mind.
Yeah, and if Mandy can't think of anything else, then I don't know shit either. But in terms of anime, the only thing in recent anime history that went even close to like a polyamorous or open relationship was the anime Love and Lies in a really roundabout kind of way,
that's
though.
A little bit,
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like it has like a flair of it. The way it ends kind of like hints at that.
Mhm.
But if you haven't watched that show, watch it. You might find it interesting, like how that romance works out. But it's not the best anime out there. But that's the only thing I got for this.
Yeah, I can think of seinens, but I cannot think of any joseis.
I got 2 just from Googling. There's one called Roku Joma no Shin Ryakusha. And I'll spell that. ROKUJOUMA. No Shin SHINRYAKUSHA. It's a true harem where all girls go along with a male main character, but they all concern for each other's well-being, which sort of feels like polyamory a little. And then someone else said, I recommend Futari no Musuko ni Nerawarete Imasu. My first encounter was this particular person's first encounter with a polyamory manga. So that's Futari no Musuko ni Nerawarete Imasu. So if you can find that online, I don't know. Chip, I don't think this is like these like very sort of cutting edge relationships. I'm calling them cutting edge. They haven't been around. It isn't like they were just created yesterday, but they're, I guess, like fringe adoption rate relationship styles like polyamory. I don't know that they're probably prevalent in Japan, but they're certainly underground. Japan is just not as progressive as we are.
That last one you said is a yaoi.
Oh.
And it says a story about a relationship of a man and his adopted fraternal twin sons.
Well,
I'm just going by what the internet says.
Translation of that title is I'm being targeted by my 2 sons.
and the next mailbag
Okay,
comes
we
from
can skip that one then. Okay.
the next mailbag comes from
mailbag.
Luxarian, and it says here, hello, AAA host. One of my best friends
Thank
from
you, Mandy.
college and I will be studying away the next year at different times, so we will not see each other for a whole year. She has never watched any anime and has passed on every invitation to the movie screenings and watch parties I sometimes do in my dorm. I know she is very anti-anime, and I don't blame her for that. However, before she leaves, she told me she wants to experience what it is that I am so passionate about, and has promised me to watch one episode with me before the end of December.
Okay.
Whoops.
Wait, whoops.
Oh
Whoopsie. Man, we're so behind. Holy shit.
no! Sorry.
Whoops.
Well, I guess just for fun. Let me read the rest of this. However, it is the game over music.
Wrecked.
Good drop.
However, it is horrible to just decide on one episode to introduce her to the whole medium. I thought of Great Teacher Onizuka's first episode, but the amount of panty jokes in the episode might make it a bit awkward. Any recommendations on which episode I should show her to make her understand what anime is about? This could also be a topic if it hasn't been one in the past.
So I always say, and like obviously I don't know this friend of yours. I know that she's a female. I know she's trying to enjoy an anime, and like just like unfortunately just having to blanket that I think of super strong episode 1 that I always give like a friend of mine that's a girl that is, you know, like a quote unquote like typical girl. I hate fucking saying that, but that
Is Berserk.
Hell
Berserk, episode 1. She'll love it.
It's I always say episode 1 of Nana is super strong.
Goblin Slayer.
No.
Of Goblin Slayer, definitely that. No, I think episode 1 of Nana is a really good slice of life drama setup of two characters that give you two different flavors. So like she may not like Nana O, but she might like Nana K. She might not like Nana K, but she might like Nana O. I think it's a very organic flow to the first episode, the way they end up in the same apartment and everything. So if she is someone that likes, you know, like dramas on TV and stuff, or like movies that have like romance, slice of lifey drama thematics, I think Nana episode 1 is pretty engaging, and she might want to watch more.
What about? I'm trying to think. I can't think of a specific episode, but what about an episode out of Rakugo?
One of the performance ones.
Yeah, like, but then I guess
Do you think
she'd
that
have
might be
to
too
at least be open or interested in Japanese culture, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's nothing in that screams anime.
I have the answer for you guys.
If that makes sense.
What is the
What
answer,
is the
Mitz?
answer, Mitz?
The answer is Paradise Kiss. And that
I love Paradise Kiss.
right off the bat in that, it's about a girl who wants to be, she doesn't really want to be a model, but she gets scalped to be a model and gets taken to a little shop where people are working on like fashion industry people. So they're all making like fashion outfits and stuff. I don't know this girl, but I'm just saying, as Enzo put it, if she's the quote typical girl, that doesn't like anime, she's probably predisposed to the things that people say anime is all, you know, for little kids, or it's full of like, you know, tentacle rape and whatever. So definitely stay away from GTO, even though GTO is isn't even like that as a show, but the very beginning of it feels like that.
Yeah, it might throw you off.
So that'll throw you off of like the, you know, the trail. But something like Paradise Kiss is gonna really appeal to your quote typical girl, because it's a very like sort of romantic-y show with fashion industry tones to it and modeling,
And the
it's
ending
just
theme is "Do You Wanna" by Franz Ferdinand.
the show's great.
Sick.
Paradise Kiss is a
Yeah.
great show.
I love
Yeah.
Paradise Kiss by the same person that made Nana. So
It's really great.
If you want something,
Oh, I was gonna say, if she likes music, maybe Kids on the Slope.
true.
I was
Man.
I was gonna say maybe like not a first episode of an entire show, but like an OVA. Like, so hear me out. Magnetic Rose, like show her Magnetic Rose. It's like a scary kind of
Interesting.
sci-fi type show. A lot of for some reason, a lot of girls
Unless
that
she
I
gets
know
scared easily.
Well, no, I don't know why, but a lot of girls I know like scary stuff.
Yeah, maybe she does.
So like here's what you do. You invite her over.
Ooh.
All right. You make her a nice dinner and be like, hey, you know,
I see where this is going.
you know, maybe a bottle of wine, you know, crack it open, head on over to the couch, get some pillows, a nice blanket so you can cuddle up. Throw on Magnetic Rose. There's a few spooky scenes in there. She might want to cuddle up close so you can keep her safe. And just go from there and see what happens.
We've removed too many drops off the soundboard. I don't have the bag of love drop anymore on here. I really wanted it. Also, Nodame Cantabile is...
Ooh, super solid first episode.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on. Next mailbag is from Yotaru Vegeta.
Hey.
Who wants to read this one?
Retired Vegeta says, "Hello, AA freaks. What is the sexiest ED? And why is it JoJo's Golden Wind ending one? The answer,
Yeah.
the answer doesn't have to be doesn't have to refer to the visuals. It can just be the song. Okay, so if it's just like sexy song, I think it has to be Samurai Champloo Shiki no Uta. I think that song gives me some really good vibey vibes. In terms of like ecchi, sexy visuals, I tried to look it up for this question. Like I was like, what is that anime with like the blonde girl with the magic and the cold, and it's freezing. So freezing vibration. I fucking hate that anime. But the ED has like basically naked girls in it. So sigh.
I love the ending to Wolf's Rain.
Damn, that's a good one too.
Gravity breaks my heart every time I hear it. It's Maya Sakamoto, super good. The Escaflowne ending theme is kind of sexy, and the Devilman ending. It's like, oh no, that's the wrong one. The Devilman ending is sexy. It's like actually I think that was it. It just takes too long to start. The DVMA, which is I think just abbreviation for Devilman, is a super good song.
All right, hear me out.
There's tons of sexy endings.
The first thing that comes to mind every time when I think of an anime ending is it's one of the endings to Inuyasha. Every Heart.
Every Heart. Yeah.
I love
Oh
that
my
song.
God. I love that song so much. Me and my roommate sing it all the time.
Every Heart.
Like in terms of a very sexy ending, Lupin Part 5's with Fujiko was very sexy.
Nice.
With her
so
like
hot.
striptease at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Well, actually, it wasn't even a tease. She was like straight up just naked the entire time.
Good pick.
Yeah, that was a really hot ED.
Oh yes, my queen.
Am I the only one here who has heard JoJo's ED?
No.
I have not.
For those who don't know, it's Freaking You
Roundabout.
from JoJo.
Oh, that's for Golden Wind. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
sorry, Golden Wind, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right.
Brandon
Next up.
Potato.
Mandy?
Yeah, the next one is from Brandon Potato. Dear AAA Podcast, with the exception of Grave of the Fireflies, do you know any good anime that has basis in history? And, did I skip one? I'm sorry, no, never mind. Basis in history, in particular the World Wars. Thanks for giving my anime addiction worse. Death to Moe. Sorry, I scrolled down and then I thought I skipped one.
You good?
You skipped over the most important part of that mailbag really quickly.
Oh, did I?
Clearly, the key part of the mailbag was, indeed, a message.
Sure.
In fact, nay, a gift.
A proclamation.
A gift given to you by Brandon Potato as a light shown into your heart. And that is, indeed, death to Moe. For if all of ye shall recognize that in the world of men
Here it goes again.
there are good and there are both evil.
Yep.
The evil are many, but the Moe is the most evil of them all, and we shall purge this blight upon humanity from the earth and cleanse them, the ye heart, to reveal the righteous underground that is laid beneath, to be laid bare for all to see, and you too shall receive salvation from the Moe. Amen.
Let the light of the Church of Mitsugi shine into your heart through your chest cavity, much like Piccolo's special beam cannon.
Amen.
Yes.
Just blasting a hole through your chest into your heart.
Amen. Okay.
All right.
All right,
Yep.
well, now
So,
the actual answer to his question.
Is Barefoot
Yeah,
Gang.
I know that Mitsugi has one that was my first choice, but
Same.
I will say a different movie. I'm pretty sure The Wind Rises has a lot of war undertone
It
in
does.
it from Studio Ghibli.
In this corner of the world,
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Barefoot Gen. There's actually a lot of these. I mean, there's quite a number of. I mean, Japan was involved in World War II, right? Quite a lot. So
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty
there's
heavily.
a lot of anime and manga about World War II because it impacted so many people in that country. So
Girls in Panzer.
Did you find a ranker list?
I sure did, Mitz.
Oh my God.
How does Girls in Panzer? God, this is like.
That was number 2 on the list,
Yes,
by the
I know,
way.
and I saw The Wind Rises right below it because we all know Girls in Panzer a way better. It's just a better thing than The
The
Wind Rises. You know?
Rises.
Screw Miyazaki. Who needs that?
Yeah,
I mean,
when you've got
we
Girls
have
in Panzer.
Girls in Panzer. Well, what is number 1?
Number 1 is Grave of the Fireflies.
And what is number 2?
Girls in Pants. Are-
Jesus.
What?
I don't see
Wait.
Barefoot Gen on here though.
Well, that's because people
Where's
don't know
in
what
this
they're
corner
talking
of the
about.
world?
Number 4.
What the
Barefoot
fuck?
Gen isn't on there? Are you sure?
I mean, hold on. I'll control F here. Nah.
Well, just another list that's meaningless.
Meaningless?
Meaningless. It's a meaningless list. Because Barefoot Gen is amazing, and it's definitely dead on target.
Yeah.
Is that a World War II list?
Yeah.
Girls in Pants is not even about World War II. It's just girls riding around in tanks in like a quote-unquote like fabricated sport. Barefoot
Well,
Gen,
the tanks are from World War II.
Barefoot Gen it literally takes place during World War II.
Yeah, but does it have cute girls?
No, it doesn't.
All right then.
It does have people.
I rest my case.
It does have.
It
It
fails
does
the
have
anime
mis-
Shark Tank.
It does have misery and suffering in it, which is a lot more like what World War II would have been like in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm so pissed off.
I love making Mitts angry. All right. Next up, Mitts, I think it might be your turn.
Mexicanadian writes, "Hi again, AAA crew. As usual, I love you guys and gals. After almost 40 years, I decided to watch again an anime called Heidi, Girl of the Alps, directed by Isao Takahata and screenplay by Hayao Miyazaki. You know what? You have done a good thing." Mind you, this anime was released in 1974. I was 4 years old back then. Here's the thing. At the time, I did not know this was anime. I just thought it was another cartoon, but with better quality and an engaging storyline. Question for the crew. Can you remember what was the first anime you watched, but you perhaps you didn't know that it was anime at the time? Would you watch it again, just like I did? Just wondering.
Yeah. I remember the first anime I had ever seen, but I was so young that I didn't even know what it was. It was just like a weird cartoon. And then I remember the first one that I actually watched fully, and it might surprise you. So the first anime I had ever seen was the original Dragon Ball. It aired in certain markets in the United States in the very early 90s. And I remember flipping through the channels, and I was maybe like, I don't know, 5. Or I was sitting in the living room or something. Somebody was flipping through the channels, and I just remember seeing a pig talking in the desert. And I was like, what the hell is this?
Yep.
And it would
Did
turn out...
Did he have like a military hat on?
Yep,
Oolong
it was Oolong.
Yeah.
And so that was the first like thing I'd ever seen of anime, and I had no clue what it was. The first anime, quote unquote, that I had ever fully watched was Fatal Fury, the movie.
Dude.
Of course.
Which, yeah.
And then you and your friends went out back and beat the shit out of each other to it.
Yeah. And
Is that true?
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Of course. But also, like, I'll never forget, there's a scene in that, and it's a shitty movie. This is a terrible movie. Don't watch this. But it's based off of the game Fatal Fury. And there's a scene where someone shoots another person, and then that person proceeds to, like energy blast them. And at the time, I had never seen a display of power like that. And it blew my mind. I was like, holy crap, he just obliterated this guy. I've never seen anything like this. But like going back and watching it, it's terrible. Like it looks horrible. It's not impressive at all.
All right, what do you guys got?
I got so the first anime I watched. So the thing is, like, I guess we're counting like Toonami stuff, right? Like I guess the first anime I watched was also, I think it was actually Sailor Moon.
Same. I think mine was also Sailor Moon.
I'm pretty sure mine was Sailor Moon. Like I came home from school one day and like there was just like Tuxedo Mask and like Sailor Moon just doing shit, like fighting stuff, and I was like, this is cool. And then after that, I think what was after Sailor Moon? Like either Tenchi or DBZ was after Sailor Moon, and that was it for me, boys. Like I was just an anime fan, but I didn't know that was anime. I didn't know that was anime. I didn't even know the word anime. I found out the word anime one long summer I spent in Peru at an internet cafe. I was on YouTube, bored as hell, and I found episode 1 of Love Hina.
Oh boy.
I thought it was hysterical as hell because I was like 13 and young. And I found all the episodes of Love Hina subbed in Spanish, because luckily I'm bilingual, so I was like, all right, I'm reading in Spanish, and I finished all of it. And I was like, what the hell is this? I want more of this. And then I found out that Love Hina is an anime. And then when I searched for anime, Sailor Moon came up, DBZ came up, A Lost Star came up, all that stuff I was already watching came up, and I was like, holy shit, I guess I like anime specifically. in terms of cartoons, and that's what started everything. So in a weird way, love Hina also put me on a weird trajectory of life.
All I can think of is Sailor Moon and Pokemon before I knew what anime was. I mean, I watched those, and then I never watched DBZ. I never watched anything else until a guy in I can't remember if it was middle school or my first year of high school was like, "Oh, I like anime," and then he gave me all the stuff to watch, and that's all I can think of. Like I think before he told me what anime was, I just thought they were cartoons. Like I didn't know any better than that.
Right,
But
same. Before the internet told me Love Hina was anime, I just thought like that was just like the same. Like you could have told me that Hanna-Barbera from Cartoon Network made Sailor Moon. I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was before like even Sailor Moon and all that started airing in the States. My uncle lived with us, and he would like go to Blockbuster and rent like anime tapes and stuff. That's why I saw Fatal Fury, was because it was something that he rented at that time. And this was like early 90s before, like, because I think like most of the, like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z and stuff didn't start airing in the States until like 97 maybe.
mm-hmm.
For me, it was My Neighbor Totoro. I watched that super young. I was like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I didn't know what anime was. And Kiki's Delivery Service, not long after that, I think. Funny story. Back when I was like an anime noob, but I thought I knew what I was talking about because I had seen like 6 anime. Mm-hmm. We all have that day, right? Where we've seen our 6th anime. I remember thinking that anime was pronounced anime.
Wow.
Yeah, back then.
Wow.
Back in the day. Back in like in my
Pope days.
back in my like, you know, like 14, 15-year-old days.
Yeah.
Anime.
Back in the late 1800s.
Yep.
When you were 14, 15.
Back when I didn't know shit. All right, we have 2 more mailbags.
All right, next one here comes from Icy Rose. Ice, baby. He says, "Hey, AAA hosts. So, Goblin Slayer is a thing that happened and took the anime community by storm. But ignoring the obvious discourse that comes from this show, one of the things I noticed is that it gets compared to Berserk a lot because they both have grim, dark fantasy elements. However, I found outside that, the shows really don't have anything in common. Sure, they're both grim, dark fantasies, but Berserk has ongoing themes of fate, ambition, and tragedy, while Goblin Slayer is about slaying goblins, and comparing the two seems like a disservice to both, underselling the former while overselling the latter. What other common comparisons do you see with anime series that you think don't really do either show justice?" Oh, that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm. So I put down Bunny Girl Senpai and the Monogatari series. They get compared a lot, and I definitely see where people are coming from, obviously, because it's about a guy who meets a girl who's going through some kind of supernatural thing and solves that, and then he helps other girls go through the same thing. And they kind of have
go ahead, sorry.
similar like dialogue a little bit, but man, it's so, I don't know, like Monogatari series is so,
it's such its own damn thing, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's
direction wise at least.
From the Monogatari series is completely different in the like, it's not what is it called, adolescent syndrome. These are actual like phantoms that that latch themselves onto these girls, and he is spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Monogatari. Aranagi is a vampire, and he learns how to get rid of these beings that are inflicting these girls. So it's similar in a way that it's a fake harem where like he's like obviously chose a girl right off the beginning, but he is surrounded by other girls who want him. I get that, but man, the direction is completely different.
Yeah, I don't think like putting those two shows side by side simply because of like the banter between the male protagonist and like the main female, and then like the following women after, is just really blankety to me. The same way I feel about the Goblin Slayer Berserk comparison, because like I think these comparisons come up only because there's so few that do these things. Like Berserk is a classic for what it does. And then the only thing since then that has like a guy with big sword and suit of armor fighting goblins in a very like, you know, mature way is this Goblin Slayer. So, I mean, I could be wrong there, but at least in terms of high profile, like it's Goblin Slayer. So like I think that's unfortunately why people are defaulting to this comparison. I don't think I would have never compared the two. Berserk to me is a whole different type of thing, man.
You want to know what I think?
What do
What you think?
I think it's because they don't know shit. That's
Oh,
what I think.
damn.
Because I've seen half of Goblin Slayer, and that isn't anything like Berserk.
And Guts
Right,
doesn't even
exactly.
fight
also,
goblins.
It's also not even worth scraping off Berserk's boot.
There aren't even goblins in Berserk.
Yeah, there
so,
aren't.
So how about that?
There
That's what I'm
aren't.
saying. It's people. I think people, and I don't want to sound like
Jesus God.
elitist or anything, but like it's just like I think people see a broadsword, a suit of armor, magic, fantasy world, and they're like Berserk. How is this similar to Berserk?
I agree with everything, but I don't feel like it's fair to say that they're stupid for making that comparison, because I feel like the comparison comes from it's dark fantasy, and we don't get many of those in anime.
I mean, in Berserk, for episode 1, Guts sits up against a tree, he's hugging his sword for dear life, while demons speak to his mind that his blood, his life, his very passions, his essence belongs to them, while like a brand burns on his body. Like, there's nothing in Goblin Slayer that even... At the end of Berserk...
Correct, but it is a dark fantasy, and we don't get many.
Yeah, but that's like saying every shonen show is the same or every sports anime is.
I mean,
I'm not saying that they're the same. I agree with you. I'm just saying I don't think it's fair to call them stupid for.
Well, I wouldn't call somebody stupid.
If
but
you like
misinformed
Berserk, you might like this.
Well, I just don't know who's saying that, because like the four of us are informed enough, and we all agree that they're not worth comparing, and yet someone's making that comparison. Can you imagine like what the world would do today if Berserk aired now, and that scene at the end of Berserk happened now? Because that shit makes Goblin Slayer look like Sesame Street. It just does.
Yeah.
Dude, demons hold Casca down and rape her for like 7 minutes.
We know.
You don't have to describe it.
We know.
And they show everything.
Yeah.
Like, Goblin Slayer, they didn't even show it. Man, I don't think the world's not ready for that. They wouldn't.
Yeah,
they wouldn't even be able to do it.
Move to a different place.
That's the difference between anime then and anime now. Today, that wouldn't even be allowed.
You know another bad comparison? The original Berserk and the new Berserk.
God.
It's a bad comparison. Don't make that comparison.
You're so right.
Who makes that comparison?
No. Yeah, don't.
That's an unspoken rule that no one makes that
Let
comparison.
us never speak of the new Berserk again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree.
Anyway.
It's I don't want to sound like I'm. That's why when I say I don't want to sound like elitist. I don't want to make it sound like we're calling people stupid. It's just that like my brain never went to that comparison, even though after reading this mailbag, I can see why, because it is scarce.
I just don't want
I
people...
remember during my Goblin Slayer manga minute when someone asked me, like in terms of darkness, I was just like, in terms of the scene in the beginning, I was like, yeah, Berserk style, like in terms of like what happened with Casca. That's all I said.
Yeah, well, that's logical
it's not
because we
even-
don't really get that too much.
I mean, I get it, but it's not even close. Like, the end of Berserk was a straight hentai. Like, that was Kudo Inu, like, ogres. Like, actually worse than that.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway. I don't.
It'd be
I
like
feel
that
like I feel like a seething, intense rant is coming, and we should just move on. Yotodi Vegeta writes, whose turn is it?
I can read this one.
That one really set me off.
Yeah, Yotaro Vegeta says, "Is there anything besides your 9 to 5 that gets in the way of your anime addiction? It doesn't have to be negative. Being a normal human being could be your answer." Yeah, well, no, it's definitely my job, 100%. It's also trying my best to keep up my social life. I am blessed with many friends, but many friends is hard, believe it or not. So,
True.
all that stuff.
The gym.
Yep.
The gym.
It's work, then the gym, then my social life, then just staying up to speed on all of the things I like, anime included, but also
Same.
including like movies and music,
comics.
podcasts, all that stuff. So, yeah, It's like that old like story about like the professor who takes the jar and he puts the marbles in the jar and then he puts the sand in the jar and then he puts the water in the jar. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No.
Where he's like, you have to make room for things that are important in your life.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that.
Ironically, this podcast.
That's true. The podcast does.
There's tremendous amounts of administrative stuff that have nothing to do with actually like watching and enjoying anime. It's just like,
Yeah.
the 2 hours of updating the website or the emailing High Dive or whatever it is. Like it's, things like that.
Mandy,
got anything for this one?
she's like, no, nothing gets in the way.
Stop me.
I'm really good at multitasking, so I watch anime like on my lunch break. I watch it while I'm cooking. I don't really have any issues fitting anime in.
Rock on.
I mean, it does get in the way. I mean, the podcast, like what we have to watch, it's in the way of what I want to watch.
That's true.
That is also true.
That's about it.
I could add that to my list too.
All right, well, I'm gonna cut it here. So we're trying to get this episode done in 2 hours today. So we're gonna wrap it up here.
Alrighty.
But we caught up to about the end of October now.
Well, hey, that's not too bad.
Hey, that's progress, man.
Yeah, there's just a lot of mailbags.
All right. Well, on that note, we are going to take another news break. Before we do, we have another in-show weekly trivia question. Mandy, hit us with it.
Alrighty, so our in-show trivia question that we will answer after the break is a guess at anime. And the question is, suddenly, a bright light appears and he is enveloped by smoke and dust. When he comes to, he discovers something amiss. He has been reborn as a mechanized weapon, wearing the skin of his former self. And the question is, what is that anime? And we will answer it after the break.
Hey, all you crazy anime addicts, Mitsuki's back, and it's time for your anime news. Leading us off, well, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse animated film has come out, and a lot of people are really enjoying it quite a lot, and it looks like it includes many different heroes from the Spider-Man universe. Of course, Peter Parker, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, Penny Parker, and Spider-Man Noir, but none of these happen to be the toy tokusatsu version of the Spider-Man known as Supaidaman, which hadn't really had much happening since the 1970s. However, it looks like Phil Lord has some ideas to bring that version of the Spider-Man back, this time in another film when the potential Spider-Verse sequel happens. So for those of you that are fans of the Into the Spider-Verse or Spider-Man in general, the toy tokusatsu version of the character is not necessarily totally dead, and the creator of this first film wants to see him in the sequel. Next up, we have some more news here. It looks like New Type Magazine, Animag, Animedia editors have picked the top 10 anime for the fall of 2018. So I'm going to run through the top 5 here. Golden Kamuy was number 5. Surune was number 4. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind came in at number 3. SSSS.Gridman coming in at number 2. And number 1 on the list, Zombieland Saga, which seems to be probably the most popular anime from last season. At least that's how it's starting to feel. Comes in at number 1 on the list for the editor's picks. Next up, Shueisha has announced that the Gintama manga is pretty much over. They confirmed in the 76th volume of the manga that the 77th volume will be the final volume, and it's going to be coming out this spring. So, for those of you that have enjoyed Gintama, well, 77 volumes is a pretty long run, so I'm sure you've had plenty of good times with Gintama. And we all know that it's the greatest anime of all time, and the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th greatest anime of all time as well. So, I'm sure we all enjoyed Gintama, and we're probably going to enjoy many movies, etc. for years to come. Rounding out the news this time, virtual YouTuber New Year's VR concert was canceled 20 years before the actual start. Of course, virtual YouTuber Kizuna Ai's popularity has become pretty ridiculous lately, and she's also had several hit singles in 2018, and now they're all, of course, doing VR concerts as well. They were having a concert for the New Year's festival called Count Zero Super Live 2018-2019. There were a lot of different virtual YouTubers at this event, including Uni, Kashiro, Mari, Ozki, Virtual Gorilla, etc. But the event was plagued with virtual problems, tons of technical issues, and the event actually never took place, being canceled only 20 minutes before the event happened, despite people paying a lot of money, some around $54 to watch the VR and Spark, and also some people buying headsets for it of over $600. Definitely should be disappointed about the fact that their event got canceled only 20 minutes beforehand, but I'm sure this doesn't put too much of a damper on the fact that the virtual YouTuber craze is a real thing and is becoming pretty popular with a lot of momentum. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. Now, getting back to the podcast.
My friends are annoyed because they think I have forgotten their actual names. I just call them my senpais and kohais now.
I threw a tennis ball at my cat. I was so caught up in the moment and thought maybe I could capture her, and then we could go on adventures together.
I purchased a motorcycle just so I could pretend I was Onizuka.
I answered the phone with Moshi Moshi.
My poor cat.
I may actually have a problem.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Hello, I'm Mandy from the Anime Addicts Anonymous. Do any of these symptoms sound familiar to you? Do you have 8,572 waifus? Do you struggle with having the theme song to Attack on Titan stuck in your head, even though Jaeger is the only word you know? Then you may be experiencing anime addiction. If you are experiencing anime addiction, then you should visit our website, AAAPodcast.com. At Anime Addicts Anonymous, we have dedicated ourselves to making your anime addiction worse. Worse! Yes, worse. Because the real world just plain sucks. So many resources await you. For just $5 a month, you will have unlimited access to our Hobby Addicts episodes. You will also have access to our hentai episodes, where you can watch a hentai along with us and hear our commentary. Give our after party episodes a listen, where you can hear us struggle to talk about our boring lives outside of anime. That $5 will go to helping us spread anime addiction throughout the world. Yes, it is time for you to make your anime addiction worse.
And we are back to the 454th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. We're jamming out to some late 90s techno.
Some royalty-free music.
Dance moves are questionable.
It's something.
We're not really dancing, we're more bobbing.
Right, we're just letting the music flow through us, guys.
I am tethered by a headphone cable and have 18 inches of space back here, but not saying I would be able to dance anyway.
No, same.
I'm more like flailing wildly.
That's okay.
Well,
so that's acceptable in a lot of parts of the world.
That's ultimately what dancing is.
Absolutely.
It's just moving in a socially acceptable manner.
In-show trivia question. Suddenly a bright light appears and he's enveloped by smoke and dust. When he comes to, he's discovered something is amiss. He has been reborn as a mechanized weapon wearing the skin of his former self. And that anime is Inuyashiki.
Yes.
Inuyashiki.
Not to be confused with Inuyasha or Iyashike.
Or Shiki.
Or Shiki.
It's time for iTunes review.
It sure is. Before we get to our review of an anime, you have a review of us.
And it's always 5 stars.
That's because we bribe you with airtime.
That's right.
But at
The
least we come by it honestly.
It's working.
So, of course, if you would like us to read your review on the podcast, head on over to iTunes, drop us a 5-star review, just like Cream Puff Senior did.
This is a podcast. This podcast is always entertaining to listen to or even watch them live. If you really tell, you can really tell that all the hosts actually enjoy each other as well, what they are doing. I've actually gotten a couple of people who don't even like podcasts to get into them. I love you. Side note, Mandy is both best girl and best host. Sorry,
Damn.
Mitsuki. All hail the Pope.
Damn.
I have been
I
de-seated.
mean, I agree.
I feel like I've never been best anything on this podcast.
Thank you, Cream Puff.
You're,
Senior.
Senior.
Yeah.
I used to sing that's what the stars stood for.
I think
Cream
you are.
Puff Senior is so funny.
I think you are best funny man.
It's possible.
I'm also funny, but I think you are best funny man.
Thank you, Mitz.
You also might have the best hair.
Enzo's got some really good hair.
And I'd like to see Enzo.
No way. My hair is very normal.
I don't know. He's got that curly like Brillo pad Boy Meets World hair.
Well, I definitely do not have the hair.
When you put it like that. Damn.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I could run my fingers through Enzo's hair, and then it would get stuck, and then I'd be trapped in his hair, and then like we would be together forever.
Yeah, at least for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a review on Hanebado.
We sure do. Whose anime was this? Who passed this?
That was me.
I want to
so
say
Mandy.
to Mandy,
Yes.
I fully understand why Mandy passed this anime.
Sure.
Because the beginning of it is actually, I thought, great.
Well, before we get into our views
That's
on
just
the
my
show
setup.
overall, so I was asking who passed it because Mandy, if you want to kind of take the lead,
Yep.
we will follow you into the dark.
Yeah, so Hanebado came out in springtime. No, I'm sorry, summer. It came out in summer. And it was from Linden Film Studio, which did Azon Senki, Killing Bites. The director was Izaki Shinpei, which I don't know if he has done anything.
Not a lot. I think he did like a movie somewhere along the way.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like he's done. He directed Guilty Crown. It seems like most of what he's done is episode directing or storyboards. And yeah, it's about this girl named Ayano Hanasaki, who is a first year at Kanagawa Prefecture. Was it Kitakomachi High School? And she has this really amazing badminton. Like, she's just a natural at it. And she meets Nagisa Aragaki, who is also a third year, and she's practicing just day and night. She wants to be the best badminton player in Japan. And unfortunately, she does not have the raw natural talent that Ayano does. And so she feels like she has to practice day in and day out and in order to keep up. And Ayano, for whatever reason, which we'll get into later on, she didn't want to join the badminton team, but from being bribed by her or being coaxed by her friends to come and join the team, she does. And it's about those two, mostly about Ayano than it is Nagisa. But yeah, it's about her journey back into badminton. And do we want to go ahead and do what our expectations were going into it?
That's a great synopsis, by the way. You think you pretty much nailed it.
Thank you. So my expectations going into it was I watched the first 3 for the impressions, and I really loved the badminton. I thought the animation was fantastic. So I was expecting scenes like that throughout the rest of the series. And also at the time that I chose this, I touched on this in my impression, is that I could not think of any other anime in recent times that had a serious sports show with a predominantly female cast. And so that also excited me, because outside of that, we got stuff like the volleyball one. What was it?
Harakana Receive.
Yeah, that one. That was. It says ecchi on it, but I don't know.
Keijo, obviously.
Come on.
Keijo,
God,
right?
Mandy, jeez.
That's what I'm getting at. Not
Those
serious.
butts were pretty serious.
Very serious. Are you kidding
Very
me?
serious.
Unlimited butt works.
And
Are you
those
kidding
thunderous tatas.
So yeah, and I also kind of liked a bit more of the somber tone. I felt like it stood out from all of like what we usually get, like Haikyuu, Free, Run with the Wind, Tsunade, the usuals that we're getting. But so I had high expectations going in, and I was excited to watch the rest of it.
I also had high expectations. I saw the first episode of this, and I was like, oh my. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, like this could be really special. And so my expectations were quite high. You know, I thought, okay, I had heard the animation was great. You know, I had seen a little bit of the first episode right off the get-go, and I expected it to be like a very competitive sports anime. And I expected to like it a lot. my expectations for it were quite high, I would say.
Yeah, my expectations were, like I expected it to be good, because like as Mandy pointed out, for everything she said, I want to double down on the animation style of the badminton scenes. Super crisp, smooth, high paced, very. I feel like they actually looked at people playing badminton to get their movements in.
I think it was rotoscoped, but I could be wrong about that. I think all of the
It would be
badminton
super
scenes were.
interesting if so, because the movements are really. It reminded me of the way that ice skate, like the ice skaters move in Yuri on Ice.
Yeah.
But even better, like a little
Very
better.
kinetic.
Yeah, so I was so looking forward to it.
Yeah. I didn't really know much about it going in to the show, but like I guess early on, like in the first episode, definitely the animation interested me, and I think I was a little concerned going into it because I felt like I my concern was I hope this isn't just like a Haikyuu ripoff except with a female cast. Like, and generally, like when people try to like imitate other like really successful shows, it you can't help but compare it, and that kind of in ways kind of causes it to not be as good as you would like. So I was a little concerned, but I thought at the very least it would be cool. There would be like cool action sequences with the gameplay. So I was cautiously optimistic.
I had one more. I had one more thought going into it that I want to mention, and that was that unlike a lot of other sports shows like Haikyuu is about volleyball, of course, and it's a team sport. And my concern about Hanebado was that they wouldn't be able to sustain the sport of badminton in an interesting way. And that being because badminton is a very simple sport, and it's very one-on-one. So, and I had some concerns about that, but the other shows have done one-on-one style shows, like Prince of Tennis has done tennis, like for example, and Baby Steps was also about tennis, and and they find ways to make it interesting. So I wasn't really sure how they would sort of approach the sport in this, but I was kind of concerned that it could be not super engaging for a long period of time. So that I had some concerns there. So
Okay.
So now we can go into our spoiler-free recommendations before we jump into the spoiler-free zone, or into the spoiler zone. So, spoiler-free, I think if you have read the manga and you are a fan of it, I probably don't recommend this adaptation because it almost feels like a completely different series. The beginning of the manga has a lot of comedy in it. All of the girls have a ton of positive energy to them, and which is a very different feel from this show. The manga does have a complete tone shift at one point, and I feel like that's probably what prompted this director to make the changes that he did for this one to a more serious feel to it rather than a comedic one. There are also some issues with the characters, with their motivations that I don't think are very clear, which are clearer in the manga, but especially when it comes to Ayano's mother. But with that said, I think if you really want to see some amazing badminton scenes with fast-paced animation that looks really good, fantastic camera work, great lighting, and just visually impressive, then you should give it a shot because it's visually a treat.
I guess I'll go. Yeah. Overall, I'm gonna say I don't recommend the show. It's the only thing that I could recommend is maybe watching some of the badminton scenes, because there was some pretty badass, like very well animated, fluid, back and forth scenes that you might want to check out like on YouTube or something like that. But overall, for me, the story was severely flawed, which we'll get into. The characters were not compelling, and it didn't grab me in the way that so many other sports anime have. So I would say it was frustrating to watch for me. So I would say if you want to see some of that cool like game scenes, do that, but I wouldn't recommend anybody really watching this unless you're like a massive badminton fan for whatever reason.
I think Hanebado, for lack of a better, what is the term I should use for this? Shot all of its bullets. I'm trying to pick a less like sexual term. Fired all the bullets in the gun in the first episode with the badminton. My fears about badminton were pretty much realized in the show. I feel like what you see in the beginning of Hanebado in the very first scene with the badminton is about as extensive as the action for the sport gets in the show. It doesn't really go much beyond that. They're not powering up and doing crazy shit. There's no team play in this really, so there's not like they're interacting in interesting ways. It pretty much what you see in the first episode, I feel, is what you got throughout the whole show. So you're watching just like more of the same. Also, for me, the melodrama in this show is what really killed it for me. I mean, it is suffocating and completely not what you want from a sports show necessarily. It's not even. It is a sports anime, but it's like the melodrama is so heavy that like the sports fans are going to be so turned off by it. Like it's just not, and it's not good melodrama either at all. And it doesn't make sense half the time. I really think that there's got to be other better sports anime that might satisfy this like sort of badminton-ish craving for you. You know, I think if you love badminton and you just want to see it portrayed in an animated way, then I think this might be good. But man, if you like sports anime, there's so many better options, I feel like, for you than this one.
Yeah. I'll quadruple the not fully recommending the show, on the basis of the fact that what I got most from it was really good animation and fluidity in the game scenes. That's what really carried me through the whole thing. I do think the characters are pretty weak, and that's something I'm like pretty involved in. Basically, just to sum up my recommendation, determination before we get into spoilers, it's if you took Yuri on Ice, which is the choreo of Yuri on Ice is the same from the first episode to the end. It's the same choreograph over and over again, but the characters were not that interesting or just written in a roundabout way that didn't make sense. So take all the character stuff out of Yuri on Ice, leave all the good choreo. That's kind of what the show did. Amazing badminton, weak characters. So on that basis, I can't recommend it as a story. Again, if you love badminton,
hail the Church of Mitsuki. What was that?
What the heck?
Sorry,
My
finger touched the soundboard.
If you want to watch if you're down for just action and want to ignore all the character stuff, watch it. It's worth for the animation.
Sounds like yeah.
That was all of our recommendations, and we're going to jump into the spoiler section, which I'm going to give you 10 seconds. And then afterwards, if you haven't seen this or you don't want to be spoiled, you can leave and then come back to our channel later or on iTunes. And
Mitz, I'm going to take that soundboard away from you.
and listen to our comments afterwards. So we are going to jump into spoiler section. We're going to start with story, and we're going to start from the beginning of the story, and like our thoughts, and then our middle, and then the last. And we'll go from there. So who wants to start with what they thought about the beginning of the story?
I thought the beginning of the show was great. I think I even texted somebody and was like, "Wow, first episode was amazing."
Yeah, you texted us, and we're like, you were like, wow, like it's so good, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, it really was for me. The badminton portrayal of the sport was super fast. The animation was just blistering. Like I loved it. I love the competitive fury. They really set up Adagaki, I think her name was, right?
Nagisa, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Adagaki's like motivations and her backstory was set up right away.
That's the one with the short hair.
Yeah, with the maroonish hair.
Yeah.
And they set her up real well. I loved her as a character. She's like the I work 10 times harder than anybody else type, which is like what a real professional athlete is like.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't like they roll out of bed and they can just drain 3-pointers like at will playing basketball.
Yeah.
They sit there and they shoot 1,000 3-pointers a day.
Yeah.
For years to be able to do that, and that's just the reality of the world. So she was just a great character for me. I really loved the way that the show set up right off the bat. It was everything. Everything I wanted.
Sorry. I also thought the beginning was very well done. we get to meet like a cast of girls who all look like they could be very interesting. But it became very clear very quickly that the story was about Ayano and not the others. And I was kind of disappointed later on that Nagisa didn't receive more attention than what we got, because I feel like she could have been a good balance out Ayano's personality, because Ayano is a very broken character from the very beginning. She and I have a really soft spot for stories about broken characters and them about their journey of putting themselves back together. So I was interested at the very beginning to learn what everything that happened with Ayano, because we get little flashbacks of her mother, and she doesn't want to join the badminton team, and I just wanted to learn more about her, and I wanted to follow Nagisa's ambitions, and I was really interested.
Yeah, I think that this is a story. There's a lot of classic sports story template in this, and that's not a bad thing, because most sport anime follow the same basic premise, right? You follow main character through their downfall, through their deficit, through their challenges, and you watch them progress and hopefully to victory, right? And this show did that super well. I think the beginning, starting the show with Nagisa losing like something she really wanted to win, is important, because she is someone that works really hard and she has that burning fire of motivation to win it the next time around, especially because it's her third year and that's it. It was her last chance. Had they followed that, and I think they do kind of like go with Nagisa. Like the Nagisa stuff is good. I don't really have any super complaints about that. I do kind of wish he had more screen time, like Mandy said.
Yeah.
I think what we're all gonna agree on now is that the show kind of loses a lot of like focus and like dramatic truth in how the conflict with Ayano is written. So there's nothing wrong with using the premise of like, quote unquote mother issues as the device for a character's dark side. I just don't think it wasn't explained well. It was explained, it wasn't explained well.
I'm with you on that.
So like it's not like it's not like they didn't put it in the show as to why Ayano's like this. They do put it in the show, it's just not portrayed well. I think overall, if you told me this show is about Nagisa and Ayano, they're rivals, and one girl is from a pedigree of badminton champion, but grew up pretty shitty, and that led her away from her mother and from the sport itself, but she's on her way back and wants to conquer all that trauma. And on the other side is the girl that lost to that girl, who works extremely hard, has no and is just extremely motivated, and her life is in the sport, and she's passionate and ambitious, and that's contagious. That sounds awesome to me. That's two storylines in one show that are great. But again, like the way Ayano was written, really messed it up for me. Like
for me,
really
I didn't mind Ayano. It was her mother that ruined her trauma. Like I felt I was gonna talk about this more in characters when we got to that section.
The story revolves around these two so much, though.
Yeah, it is very much a character. Everything is about Ayano, except for you get a couple little side stories here and there about some other girls, which I actually thought were interesting, and I wanted to know more about them. But it focuses heavily on Ayano. But what I was going to say is that I felt like she dealt with her trauma the way a teenager would, and it made sense. But the unfortunate thing is that I don't feel like her trauma needed to happen, because it didn't make sense about her mother.
Yeah.
That whole issue just did not make sense to me.
Because, like, can any of us even explain what it really even was? Like,
so,
like, all I remember is her mother and her played badminton a shit ton. Her mother's like a million-time champion of badminton. And one day she just like up and left.
Well, it's because she lost a game.
Yeah. Huh?
It's because Ayano lost a game and her mother abandoned her because she didn't want her or want to be around.
Is that what that
At
is?
least that's
literally exactly what it is.
Show leads us to believe.
What the fuck?
Because that's all the information we got.
I guess my brain filled in something better than that because it was so bad, I guess. Because I thought that maybe like this is what my brain took, because I guess my brain was like, I'm blocking this out for you or for your own good, son. Like this is my brain did to me. My brain, because when her mother left, she was wearing like a black suit, so I assumed someone died or something, and then her brother was depressed and left.
Yeah, the show died.
Yeah.
Well,
So
all we know is from Iono's side of the story. We don't know about the mothers because it didn't show us. But
although she does talk about how she understands what she did and that she doesn't regret it. Like she literally says that. The mom
right.
does.
But what I'm saying is that from what they show us in the show is that Iona got sick from another girl and she was sick and that's why she lost the match. And then her mother left and said, but she said that I will come back when you get better. And so, yeah, we are definitely led to believe
Which is
that
so
she
fucked up.
abandoned her. Yeah,
It's
because
so
of that.
fucked up.
But I think what was even worse is that then we learn later on that a girl comes and with blonde hair. She's from Denmark. Her name's Connie, and we find out that she is now Iono's adopted sister. So her mom abandoned her, moved to
found a better
Denmark,
one.
and adopted a new girl or a new daughter
who was better at badminton.
With potential.
Who's better at badminton.
Yeah.
That is not. I mean,
the
I
worst parent ever.
Literally.
I was going to say, when Enzo proposed a better story, I feel like for me, I know that there are terrible, shitty parents out there. This doesn't make sense to me. I feel like what would have been better is if she did abandon her daughter to pursue her career. Like if she was at a point where she had the daughter and was like, I want to go back to badminton. I can't be a mother anymore. It's like, I'm leaving, and just left.
Yeah.
That would make more sense to me.
Yeah, or like say like I don't know, like, and this could just be filled in by like blanks, but like say like mother is on the verge of her like 11th championship, and then like I don't know, for some reason causes her to miss that match or something, and then that is a grudge she holds against Iono that runs deep in her because she loves badminton so much, and therefore she abandons her daughter. Her daughter is therefore traumatized by this, and you can go from there. But like to simply like just like up and leave, like I'll be back when you get better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I don't like
think
that.
so
I don't like
empty.
that she adopted a new daughter. That doesn't make sense to me. If there is a point where she was like, I can't be a mother anymore. I don't want to be a mother anymore. That would make sense to me.
I got a good one. And I feel like Cosmo is going to agree with me like 100% on this. Here's my better version of this anime.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to retell the story.
All right.
I was so cautious right now.
Sure.
No, because like, all right, so listen, all right, here's the story I want, right? Adagaki, Nagisa, call her whatever you want. Adagaki loses to Hanasaki in the first episode. Sets up Adagaki's whole problem. Because in the beginning of the anime, she's super abusive to the badminton club because she believes that the only way you're going to beat these geniuses in the world is by whooping your ass with hard work. And the other girls in the club, they're just not down for it because they're not like built that same way in their head. Like they're not that passionate about badminton. So Nagisa Adagaki has this issue, and they resolve it in an okay way, I thought, in the beginning of the show. But then, rather than spending 8 episodes on Hanasaki, who is, in my opinion, completely insufferable as a character, and like I whether she handles the problems with her mother or not the right way as a teenager or whatnot, don't really care because I didn't want to watch that for 8 episodes. Well, so let's take her out of the show completely and put her on in another high school.
Okay.
And now and you can have your backstory of Hanasaki where you show all the fucked up shit that's happened to her and why she's the way that she is with her weird glowing eyes and all that.
Yeah.
But then let's have like a passionate sports show
about Adagaki.
Where Adagaki, yes, works hard. She overcomes. She turns over a new leaf and re-earns the love of her club members. And her club members support her after they all get knocked out of the tournament. They support her and stand behind her as she progresses through the tournament to ultimately reach Hanasaki at the end. Then you can have the one episode of backstory with Hanasaki because I didn't want to see that shit for 8 episodes. Then you get to have the badass 2 episode of tennis match where Adagaki conquers her demons, wins the tournament, stands there in front of everybody and cries in front of the whole world in the most passionate scene, the best moment of the whole anime. That's how the show should be, because Hanasaki ruined this anime. Boom. That's how I feel.
The thing is that, like, I on paper, like, the thing is, like, we see that story a lot, man. It's like
I was gonna say the same thing.
Right.
But that story's better than what they gave us. What they gave us was I didn't want to watch it. It was terrible.
Yeah, what they gave us is terrible, but the premise, I think, is worth exploring, because you finally have, like, in one school you have two rivals that are the best, and they end up competing, and I like that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the premise of the show isn't even about the competing between the two of them. It's about Hanasaki
and her mommy issues. And the mommy issues don't make any sense. The whole backbone of the show makes no sense.
I agree that the execution was bad.
Very bad.
But yeah. I think this was the more interesting story on paper. Like, I would rather watch this than the good versus bad again, like, from different schools, you know? So, like, I agree with you. I think Hanasaki, if we're gonna believe the mother shit, I think Hanasaki's believable, but it's just the mother shit was bad. Right?
I don't think there's any difference between, like, seeing Hanasaki from another school and having Hanasaki in the same class. It's the same story. They're just rivals in a different.
You just didn't want her to be the primary focus.
Yeah, I didn't want her to be. I wanted Aragaki to be the primary focus, but in doing so, it doesn't make sense necessarily to put Hanasaki in the same school, because then you're wondering, why didn't you focus on her a little more? Because her story doesn't make any sense to me. I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I think what would have helped is if Aragaki played a bigger role in maybe helping Ayano out of her pit.
Yeah, and get rid of Connie.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. I wish that she played. I thought that she'd be a good contrasting character. And I thought from the very beginning that they were going to work through their issues together, because they both were sharing one side of a different coin. It's like Ayano had all of this talent, but she didn't want to play badminton because of her trauma. But Nagisa wants to be the best, but has no talent. I mean, not natural talent. She has to work very hard. She doesn't have this just, she wasn't born with this ability.
With the pedigree,
so I thought maybe them working together would have completed themselves. I don't know. I'm just really sad that Nagisa wasn't there to balance out Ayano.
Yeah, I'm not realizing that's kind of what I think I'm realizing right now. That's what I wanted.
I feel like Nagisa was the only character I liked.
Me too.
like,
I like the long-haired, the black-haired girl with the long hair.
Oh, the smart one.
Yeah,
she was good too. Really but good. Like, Ayano and Connie were insufferable for me.
And the pink-haired girl.
Why
is she even in here?
I don't even know why she was there. But like, Connie and Ayano both have a moment in the show where their personalities completely swap. It's like a Freaky Friday thing where they just, one goes from being a complete, like, crazy asshole to, like, super sweet and loving, and the other one goes from just like a nice girl to a crazy asshole. Like, it's so weird and jarring and sudden, and it happens for both of them, like, in an instant. And it's like, well, what the hell just happened? Like, and I just couldn't connect to their characters at all after that.
All right. So I guess, like, are we all, character-wise, are we all in conclusion that, like, this show pretty much suffered because Ayano and her mother trauma? Like, that's
the triangle, I feel like, of Connie, Ayano, and the mom. Like, that triangle.
That kind of just, like, put the nail on the coffin for the show, story-wise.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much how it is for me.
We didn't talk about I guess we covered the beginning and the middle, because we kind of bled into the middle with the drama. But we didn't mention, like, the last match between Ayano and Nagisa.
Yeah. We should go there after. I just wanted to, like, because we're beating a dead horse on the Ayano thing, so I just wanted to move on. So, like, yeah, you're right. Like, we should definitely talk about the last match, because I walked away loving that shit.
Me too.
I thought
that match was so great.
Same. I watched the second to last episode, and I had something to do after. And I actually found myself, while I was doing the thing I was doing, I was like, fuck, I want to finish that match. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed the last two episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. You haven't spoke much. You go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I think that's, for me, like, the best part of the show were the matches, and especially, like, the final match. Like, I definitely enjoyed those, but I don't know, just everything outside of that was just unbearable, like truly unbearable.
You were even going to get a bad last match because Ayano was going to quit in the middle of that match.
Yeah.
And the only reason why you even had the best moment of the whole anime is where Adagaki says, like, no, you're not going to quit. Look at all these people that are supporting you. And they're all cheering for you. By the way, for no apparent reason whatsoever.
Yeah, like, why are they cheering for you?
Because
they're friends, man.
Friends with a total
and also
asshole.
She's the daughter of like a very well-known athlete.
Whether she likes it or not, she's famous and she's really good.
That's another thing that pisses me off about anime in general is that, and it's not all anime, but like poorly written anime will have characters who are insufferable assholes and no one will call them out ever.
Well, think about this is Japan.
It's
Adagaki
so
got called
annoying.
out in the beginning.
She did,
and
yes.
she turns her shit around.
But she's not even that bad. Like, well, kind of.
She was a little tough on her teammates, but I think she was good intention.
No, I didn't know gets called out. Her friend with the purple hair calls her out like 3 times.
Yeah.
It isn't until that last moment, the very last set or the last portion of the last game that they play, where she says, you know, everyone's cheering for you right now. But right here on the court, it's just you and me.
Yeah.
In this moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, that right there, boom. That was the best moment of the show.
That was powerful.
It was. Yeah. I love that moment as well. But it doesn't.
That whole last match I really enjoyed because I liked also watching both of them try to figure out what area of the court they were going to aim for in order to exploit the other's weaknesses. Like, because Nagisa's knee is bad and she's having a lot of difficulty moving. So I like the part where Ayano knows that, and so she shoots like really high and long, and she's constantly making Nagisa run and shooting to the side with her bad knee, so that she has to lunge with that knee. And I don't know, I loved watching hearing their inner thoughts about the match.
Same.
And I also realized through research that all of the rackets they used were actual brands. They're Yonex brands. And,
they're a real sponsor for the anime? Sick.
That's cool. You know, one thing...
That's interesting.
Oh.
Let me... I mean, we're 6 minutes over 2 hours.
Okay.
So I was just going to shuffle us to the next segment, section of the review, unless someone else had something important to say about the characters.
No.
Well, I'm ready to talk about animation, but I think I covered my feeling on the characters. I think everyone was fine. I know Mother Connie Triangle was weak. Nagisa's awesome. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I personally didn't mind Ayano because I felt like she was dealing with it in a way that would make sense for a teenage girl who's going through abandonment, which is a serious trauma.
Yeah.
So I thought she made sense. But it was just a shame that her mother didn't make sense. But there was also a side character that I really enjoyed. That was Nozami, who, with the coach that wanted to control all of her moves. Yeah. I really enjoyed that one.
Oh, that was cool
she
too.
Was cool.
Yeah.
And I really wish that we had seen more of her. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the art and animation.
I thought the art and
go
animation...
for it, Enzo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just thought he was excited.
I don't have much to say about it. I mean, I could just simply say it was well animated.
Yeah. They definitely rationed their animation budget correctly, I feel like. Like, there were moments where it was insane, like, so well animated. But then they also, like, sacrificed other areas where it wasn't needed and kind of, like, kept things pretty basic. So I feel like they balanced that really well.
Agreed. Can we just talk about like the black and white moments of the last match? Because
go for it,
dude. I was full in on the last match because the action was not only animated well, but like the movement was so, like, as Kazuo said earlier, kinetic. And I felt like I was watching people like really fucking playing this sport, and I love the artistic choice to go black and white, no sound except for the color of the eyes. And the sound of breathing shoes and the rackets hitting the birdie, because I think I found myself with my mouth slightly open, kind of just like completely engaged watching that whole thing go down.
It was a nice decision to really emphasize that this is the moment. There's nothing else going on around them. This is the moment that is going to change Ayano's perspective on this entire sport
Yeah, and
and
Nagisa's
Nagisa's possible career.
Yeah, for sure. There was a lot of stakes in that moment. I think that
Yeah.
animation choice is one of those times where the director was like, "I'm gonna make the dramatic effect happen here by making this be black and white."
Yeah,
I
I thought
think our animation is really good overall.
same. I thought it was fantastic. I feel like that's the reason to watch the show. The badminton scenes are amazing. They're fast paced. Each of their swings have so much impact in them.
Def.
The camera work as it follows each of their movements, the transitions between shots. It's really some impressive editing and a lot of attention to details with bouncing hair, shifting of clothes. It was really nice to look
muscles, like the muscles reacting as they
like that thigh.
Yeah. A couple things when it comes to like art and animation. One thing that this show did better than Haikyuu is that they actually drew the net over the people's faces as opposed to like erasing
you mean
it.
that's because it's not a... Yeah, well, you know what it is.
Yeah. Also, one thing you mentioned, like the impact of them like swinging the racket and stuff. One thing I found funny is that like they swing the racket, it's so intense, and it hits the birdie or whatever, and then the birdie like flies across the net, and then it hits the ground like tap, like it's like so intense, and then just tap tap tap, just bounces away.
Yeah,
but that's accurate.
It's called a. By the way, it's called a.
Looks funny, but that's exactly how the birdie moved.
We're really.
It's called a shuttle.
What's called a shuttlecock.
But they called it a birdie in the show.
Well, I mean, it's called a shuttlecock.
People call it a birdie in real life.
That's just because they don't want to say cock.
Well, yes, precisely.
I'm gonna Google
and I'm gonna say
shuttlecock versus birdie.
Go ahead.
Do we want to quickly blow through music before we give our final thoughts and ratings?
Music, I don't even remember.
I don't remember it either.
I thought the music was fantastic.
I thought so too.
For a sports show.
No, I agree.
It was this like dissonant strings, and it just did not feel right for a sports show. It felt, I don't know, like it should be like a fantasy or a drama. It just, but I do remember listening to it and thinking I would love to listen to the soundtrack because this is beautiful.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it because this is one of those moments where I did not even realize the music was playing.
Yeah, the music was very good, but definitely didn't seem to fit. Like, but I noticed it. I'm like, oh, that's a cool song. I like that song. And I was like, what is that doing here? That doesn't make any sense.
It felt like it was like meant to be in like a fantasy or something.
The opening and endings are cool. I didn't mind them at all.
Yeah. I actually like the OP a lot. Mm-hmm. I thought it was catchy.
Very colorful.
I'm ready to score it.
Let's do it.
Final thoughts and score.
I think that my thoughts on this, if I had to draw my liking of this show on a line chart with a vertical axis with 10 being at the top and 0 being at the bottom, this show and the episodes on the
Yeah, I'm already lost.
Okay. The episode count is on the horizontal axis. The quality of the anime is on the vertical axis.
Okay, sure.
10 to 0, 0 to 12 or 13 on the episodes.
I'm lost again.
Episode 1 starts at about a 9. Episode 2 is about a 9. And I think then it just gradually dropped the entire rest of the show all the way until the end. And then it went up a little bit at the end. That's how I would sort of say that the line chart would go. Ultimately, I really hated Ayano. Ayano is... I can't remember the last time I disliked a character as much as Ayano. Like, even down to...
Ayano or like...
It's Hanesaki. Is like, Ayano, whether it's
like
her...
the stuff around her, though.
Whether it's her mother or not, like, even her, like, glowing eyes looked weird. Like, she just destroyed this anime for me completely. And, you know... I don't know. And the fact, like, I get it, she's got abandonment problems, but the abandonment itself doesn't make sense. Like, the mother's train of thought there makes no sense whatsoever. And so it's just like really this would never happen. It just doesn't feel like it doesn't make tangible sense to me.
Doesn't feel grounded.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know. honestly, with that. I'm giving this anime specifically because of that whole chunk of the show, and because it is such a giant portion of the time spent on the show is Ayano and her mother. I'm going to give the show 2 flashbacks where we watched the same thing with how many times can you juggle the shuttlecock over and over again out of 5, because we watched that every damn episode. I'm just angry. I feel I need therapy
After the show.
after the show.
You
2
should
out of
look
5
into it.
flashbacks.
I can go next. I think I am with Mitsuki in terms of my least favorite aspect of the show is the trauma surrounding Ayano and the way it was, and like where that trauma jettisoned from. I also think a fault of the show for me is lack of giving more Nagisa to me, because I really liked her at the end. I did the whole time, but I think the story could have been of a slightly more like passion tone than like recovery trauma tone the whole time, because for an Ayano side it was definitely a trauma recovery, and then from Nagisa's side it was a fine line between like passion, hard work, and to just achieve better, and also just recovering from trauma. I mean, even right before the last match, she says that she says to her friend, I forgot her friend's name, the glasses girl. She says like, today I'm going to defeat myself. Well, I thought that was the coolest line in the whole show. I was like, today I'm going to defeat myself, because for her that last match was like, yes, like this is her redemption to come back and win, but it's also to defeat the self she was at the beginning of the show because she lost. I think that was cool. I wish there was more substance to that. That line is really cool. I wish there was more to that line. I'm gonna give this show I'm like stuck between the 3 and 3.5. I'm gonna give it 3.5 just because the animation is really that much better than a lot of stuff in general out there, and the way I was engrossed in the last portion of the series, that match is better than most anime have kept my attention throughout like the last of 2018 and ever, really. I was super engaged, so I'm gonna give it 3.5 aces out of 5.
All right. I guess I'll go, and then Mandy, you can bring us home since it's your show. So I mean, what have I said that I haven't already said? This show was burdensome to watch. As I'm on the treadmill, I'm watching this show, and I'm walking on the treadmill, and the entire time I just wanted to run. Like in the opposite
Run away
direction.
in the opposite direction.
Like it was horrendously paced. The characters, all of the main characters, save for one, who didn't get enough screen time, were so poorly written, and their motivations and their story were just nonsense. We've talked about the mom and like how they wrote her, and the reason for her abandoning her child was just garbage. Like what kind of, that's the dumbest reason of all time. Like if that's the reason she left her child, the government should stop her from taking the child back, because she is seriously unfit to be a parent.
Or prevent her from adopting another child.
Yeah.
I mean, good God.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't let you do that if you abandon your child. But anyway.
Like, Connie, I hate to tell you this, but you are riding on a time bomb.
And then, like, the way that Ayane responded as someone who has dealt with and will deal with for the rest of their life with childhood abandonment issues. Like, that is not how you react. Like, you certainly, it's very difficult, and it changes who you are as a person and causes you to go through a shitload of trauma, but you don't just like switch in an instant and become an insufferable asshole. Like, that's just not realistic. Like, and that's probably the best way to put it. Like, the characters were not realistic, and I could not bear them. Fortunately, the competitions were exciting, and they were well animated, and there were a couple characters that I was interested in, but I just simply didn't get enough of them. As I mentioned before, I can't recommend anyone watch this show. Like, if you want to, just go to YouTube and look up some of the scenes from like a few of the tournaments or whatever. But I mean, I am graciously giving this 2 birdies out of 5. I wanted to give it less, but I'm gonna be nice.
That's kind of how I felt, actually.
I'm gonna echo a lot of what Enzo said, is that it has amazing production values. I feel like if they had changed the mother's story, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I did not mind INM because I felt like it was different from what we usually get with sports shows. And that to me made it interesting. And so, yeah, I'm going to shorten my review because I think everything has been said to death. But I am giving it also a 3.5 out of 5. 3.5 leg sweats.
So 2 of us really liked it and 2 of us really hated it. That's funny.
Yeah, so it rounds up to a 3.
Okay.
That's fair.
I mean, I don't really feel so, but that's what it's all about. That's what radio is. So
see, what's good is we have such differing opinions.
That's right.
It'd be like
So
that sometimes.
We have the spectrum.
It should be like that every time. That's way more interesting than having everyone just agree.
True. Although there are some shows in which we all agree are either amazing or terrible.
Well,
those do exist.
Those do exist. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. On that note, it is time to bring us home. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to another exciting episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast.
Next week is Sirius the Jaeger.
Oh,
yes,
which I believe is a Netflix show.
Sounds serious.
Oh my god.
It's been a long episode, guys.
Take us home.
You can find us at our website, AAAPodcast.com. Go to AAAPodcast.com/join to create an account and sign up for all of our extra episode goodness, of which we will be doing an after party after this. So stick around for that or head to the website to get access to it if you're not listening live. Make sure you give us a 5-star review on iTunes and subscribe to us there. And follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/AAAPodcast, and join us in our Discord, of which you can find a link on the website, AAAPodcast.com.
And don't forget to vote in the Anime Oscars.
Yes. Let your voice be heard, both in the Anime Oscars and in the People's Choice Awards.
I roughly know how many listeners we have. And
he'll know
I
if you
know
didn't
how many
vote.
people vote.
That's right.
So I will know if you're naughty and I'll know if you're nice.
Good
That's
point.
right.
All right, thanks again, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. And we will see you next time on the
Love you.
Anime Addicts Anonymous
Bye-bye.
podcast.
Bye, guys.
Bye.